Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Show. So happy to have you with me this evening, a little bit past 7 p.m. on the East Coast. And yeah, I wasn't sure again what I was going to be chatting about today because, as many of you know, I was on actually earlier. I was on earlier today on my radio show, and I chatted a little bit about New York State and such. And today I thought I got I've been a bunch of reactions, and I got 2 more reaction videos I'm going to be doing probably tomorrow and day after. And then the AMA on Saturday. We'll see what's going on. But I want to grab the reaction because you guys like those. And get another one today that I wanted to bring up. This one is about millennials. So if you're a millennial, you may be insulted tonight. I don't know. You might. But it's about millennial parenting and how they're not doing good, supposedly. And it seems interesting. Me, I'm a parent. I've brought 2 kids up here. Some of you, of course, listening and watching are parents also. And there's a lot of stuff that I'm talking about, which is culturally based. What I mean by that, it's going to affect us all. It isn't just going to affect, the person who has kids, but other people, and it's going to affect relationships, the job market, all those things that actually matter. Now, of course, the person who's talking about it is a woman named Ashley Embers. Ashley Embers blames everything on capitalism. Doesn't matter what it is. My car is broken, capitalism. I'm tired, capitalism. Doesn't matter. No matter what. So she will always blame it on the wrong thing. Even though sometimes she has some good ideas on what's happening, she will blame it always on capitalism every single time. Doesn't matter. And while she's a YouTuber, in my view, and you may take this the wrong way, I hope you don't. In my view, she is just a typical TikTok woman. Everything she shows, all her validation, all comes from TikTok women. All of it. You will almost never see a man. You will almost never see not TikTok. That's everything. And then, of course, she gets mad at people who watch TikTok and stuff, even though she does. But that's okay. No worries. Look, doesn't make her wrong. Well, yeah, it does. Doesn't mean we can't watch her and still give some good ideas based upon this. And here is the beginnings. It begins, yes, indeed, with TikTok. Oh, hold on. I need to, let me get back. Let me do it right because I do want to show you, I do want to add everything to it. 1 second. It does begin with TikTok doesn't it always begin with TikTok? It kind of always does. It kind of always begins with TikTok, but here we go.
Okay, not to be a bitch, but why is this new generation of teenagers, Gen Alpha, I think, why are they so rude?
Make it stop.
Rude.
Viewing. Boomer.
Oh my gosh.
Somewhere along the way, we decided that kids need to be scheduled from morning until night. And there's a lot of kids nowadays that are stressed of all different ages.
This is a problem. Kids who don't know how to emotionally regulate, don't understand.
What they're doing is they're naming everything. Kids don't, we decide, blah, blah. What they're saying is, man, did we change parenting around? We let our kids run stuff now.
Consequences, don't understand proper boundaries.
You guys noticed recently that
who sets proper boundaries? Who sets consequences? I'm just going to say it's you. And you know who else usually used to set it? I'm going to say it. You might get mad at me. I'm going to say it. The father. Yes, the father. Lara, you're playing boomer. Maybe I'm not a boomer, but maybe I don't care. I know that in my own world, when I was growing up and with my kids, and when I see it, you can look at a lot of kids and go, yeah, no dad in that family. No dad in that family. Just look. Oh, yeah, no dad. I've asked women that I've met who act a certain way. And I ask a question like, how often you call your father? How often you call your father? I don't know my dad. Oh, yeah, I knew. That's why I said that. I knew. That's why I said that. Yes, I'm aware of that. I knew that already. I was waiting for you to walk into my trap. I was being polite, but I knew that. Yes, that was clear. And I see that as a huge issue. It's a huge issue.
kids lack major social skills I'm talking basic skills.
We have been having some behavioral issues with the kids. I'm starting to notice that pretty big screen addiction.
They live
Screen
on their
addiction.
phones. They behave like addicts. They're super emotional. Like the smallest thing sets them off.
Now, you see that? She has the camera. There's no dad. There's no dad. I'm just telling you the truth. There's no dad. And she has a camera. So she wants to grab it because she wants everyone to see how tough her life is. Why would you do that? These iPad kids get out of control. Why are you YouTubing that? That's your kid, right? So that's not going to happen if dad's around. And somebody might go, Larry, what are you saying? Dad's going to whip his ass? Yes, if he's a boy, yes. Yes. Some of you be mad at me. I don't care. Sometimes a young boy needs his ass whipped. That's the reality of life. Sometimes, I'm not saying you beating your kids up. I'm not saying that. And it's different with girls. Girls react differently. Sometimes a boy needs his ass whipped. He needs it. And when he gets older, he'll be like, thanks, Dad. Remember that time you whipped my ass? Boy, did I need that. That's why the saying comes from, do you need an ass whipping? That's based on reality. That's all I'm saying. That's based on reality. Sometimes. Dad's not pulling out the phone, going on TikTok, and that's not happening. And next thing people don't realize, particularly young kids, and this is why dad matters too. It's going to sound crazy, but not just dad. I'm going too far with dad. I am. A strong male role model. Does not have to be dad. Should be dad. Doesn't have to be. Could be uncle, could be older brother, could be cousin, could be grandpa, right? Doesn't have to be dad. Should be dad. Does not have to be. I'm going a little bit forward to that because it makes me laugh. That's why I say it. And also makes you cry because now in America, in case you don't know this, in America now, if you actually have your biological parents in your home, if you live with your biological parents until 18 years old, it's official now, you are a minority in America. That's correct. You are now a minority. Most kids in America now do not have both biological parents in their household for the full 18 years. Most don't. You are now a minority. That's where we are right now. And this is a part of it. Don't get me wrong. Technology matters too. Society, of course, all that matters. But when you pull positive male role models, because here's the next thing that's happening, and you'll see it here too with some of the people she's going to talk about. There's no men in any of this. This is a half hour, no men. And on top of that, there's no men in school. In teachers, in America, 80 to 90% of your school district teachers are going to be females, not men. So there's no men in school. No men at home, no men in school. And a lot of these women are being taught, and this is going both ways. I'm being very clear. The manosphere or the red pill community is saying stay away from women. At the same time, feminism is saying stay away from men. So both sides are saying don't talk. The club world is dying. Why? Men and women aren't going together to meet each other anymore. So if you don't have a husband or boyfriend or baby daddy or whatever situation in this kid's life, the odds of you having a positive male role model in this kid's life are getting slimmer and slimmer by the day. Big issue. Not the only issue. Massive issue that she does not mention at all. She will never mention that. She will just say, capitalism bad. She won't mention that there's a social issue here. This shit would happen one time in my house. It'll happen once because the kid's going to test it. I get it. Kids test. That will happen one time. I guarantee you, never again. Once it will happen. Won't happen again.
How do you address an 8-year-old who's obsessed with video games? Very, very common.
How do you deal with an 8-year-old that's obsessed with video games? This is an actual question. I'm going to be nutty with this one. Okay. Hear me out. Before you yell at me, hear me out. Okay. Take the video game away. That's it. Take the video game away. That's a way. The other way is you do what I did, which is play with them. And say you can play, but you have to play with somebody else in the household. We have to play together as a family. That's what I did with my kids. They still played, but they played with the rest of the family. And somehow they didn't get addicted. And somehow they all played together. Somehow that was okay. I don't understand. Matt brings up a very important piece, Matt. And this is probably going to be a generational thing that's happening now, right? I don't know. I played a shitload of video games. Me too, as a kid. But I don't know. I also played sports and other stuff too. Me too, right? I feel like Gen X to the older millennials to earlier Gen X were like the last generation that actually did a lot of that. Most of them didn't. But yeah, I think, I mean, I still played pickup football when I was a kid. Pickup baseball. I still played that when I was a kid. So yeah, absolutely.
Common. That's, I hear this every single day.
You are interacting with them briefly in between hits of the internet, which is their real life.
Okay, who gave them the internet? Who pays for the internet? Who bought them the devices? They didn't just show up. Zero reality that you have all of the power, like all of the power. The kids have zero power. This is why kids are so angry all the time, because they recognize they have zero power. Until you give them all the power, then they're brats.
If I were to ask you to recall childhood memories, you might describe something like running freely outdoors, climbing trees, playing for hours with neighborhood friends, dressing up, and biking home before sunset.
Only if you're like over 40, but yeah.
For most kids, however, this version of childhood is an unfamiliar experience.
Correct.
Gen Alpha, born between 2010 and 2025, is experiencing a shift where the natural joy and curiosity that should define childhood has been unintentionally replaced by well-meaning adults. Millennial.
As always, well-meaning. The intent is good. How many times have I mentioned that? How many times did I mention that? The intent is good. The intent is good. I don't think they're trying to harm. I don't believe that at all. They are absolutely harming, but they are absolutely not trying to. But the point is, they don't learn. Like, if I say, you know, Joel, I want to help you out, so I'm going to give you, you know, I'm gonna put spider venom in your drink, right? And then you get sick and throw up, and I go, oh, that spider venom that really messed you up. I'll put some more in. That's what's happening. Instead of going, I'm going to stop doing that. I thought it was going to help you. It didn't. So I should stop. No, they're still doing it. John says, fewer kids, no extended families, aunts, uncles, cousins. Yes, a quick slap on the wrist to get a child's attention does wonders. They will listen to what is said next. Beating is never acceptable. Well, the reality of it is, you're right. Fewer kids makes it tougher. You're right. No extended family makes it tougher also. It's also tougher. And look, is the being never acceptable? I would disagree. With respect, brother, I would disagree. Sometimes a boy needs an ass whipping. That's just my view. It always has been. It still is. I didn't have any boys. I had girls. I didn't beat my kids at all. I didn't hit my kids at all. I didn't need to. But if I had a boy and I needed to, I would have. If I needed to, I would have. But I did not. So, but I do feel that, can you slap a kid in the wrist? Yeah, that's fine. I mean, some people don't like that. Some people think nothing is good. And if you think never grabbing your kid by the back of their neck or pulling them and saying, stop, do what I say, that kind of stuff is bad, okay, you can think that if you want to. I think your kid's going to end up like this. That's my view. Obviously, I'm a libertarian. You raise your kids as you see fit. Just my view.
Parents, while claiming to give their children autonomy and agency, are condemning them to lives that are overscheduled, overextended, and
so autonomy and agency, but they're overscheduled, overextended, and overstimulated. Those don't work. Those don't work. That's not how that works. If they have autonomy, they're not overscheduled.
overstimulated. The great paradox of modern parenting is that despite the fact that we're spending more time and more money than ever before on children's futures, the results are falling short.
This is what I say all the time, and a lot of you will think I'm wrong, but I'm going to be very forward, and I know it's true. She's going to talk about it. It's everywhere. The data is in. The data is in. A child-centered family wrecks everybody. Let me say it again. A child-centered family wrecks everybody. It wrecks the marriage. It wrecks the kids. How does it wreck the marriage? How many times have you heard people say things like, well, we got divorced, but she's a good mom. Or we got divorced, but she's a good dad. Or he's a good dad, whatever the case may be. Happens all the time. Your wife doesn't keep you around because you're a good father. Your husband doesn't keep you around because you're a good mom. Your spouse keeps you around because you're a good spouse. Right? Because you're a good spouse. That's why you keep your marriage, because both spouses work well together. That's the reason why. If both of you are focusing on the kid, who's focusing on you two? Nobody. And then the relationship falls apart. So even the parents get screwed when you focus on the kid. Not just when you focus on the kid, a kid thinks they're awesome. Why? Because they were born, and they're not. I'm not mad at your kid. Nobody is awesome because they're born. That's a bunch of garbage we've told ourselves and made ourselves terrible. That's not how it works. You are awesome because you've done something, whatever that thing is. Whatever that thing is, you've done something. Good for you. Well done. You're born. So what? Literally billions of people are born. That's not impressive. And I know people don't want to hear that. It's still true. And when you tell people this, they go, wait a minute, Larry, that's not right. And you get terrible kids from that. She's going to actually mention this. So yes. So
See, kids are now going along life with no real hobbies, no social skills, no emotional regulation, no free time, and all while being sleep deprived. And
yes, all true. She's right.
as a millennial parent of Gen Alpha kids myself, I'm scared to follow suit, which is why we're here. So let's dive into it, how kids are spending too much time on the wrong things and are lacking the emotional intelligence and mental resilience needed to navigate beyond childhood, all under the watchful eye of loving parents.
Well, that's not true. They're not under the eye of loving parents. That's absolutely not true. They're under the eye of a loving parent. Sometimes a selfish parent.
Before getting into the problems we're seeing with Gen Alpha, I want to discuss the significance of childhood, as these early years have a massive impact on how the rest of your life unfolds.
Massive
Specifically,
impact.
I want to focus in on the opportunity cost of childhood. If you don't know what an
Now, this is a very valid point that most people don't get. What is childhood supposed to be about? Most people say going to school. Now, that's just shit we made up. That, again, school stuff we made up. I'm not against school necessarily. I mean, generally I am, but I'm not against school necessarily. The goal of childhood is to prep yourself to be an adult. If that includes school, awesome. But we've forgotten everything else. We think it's to get your good grades in school and graduate high school. That shit's secondary. Can you function as an adult? We've forgotten about that. So we don't care about that. Remember what we used to have in school, like home ec and Sharpe and stuff like that, where you actually learn something to be an adult, right? There was actually like a garage in the high school, and you go there and bring your car in and figure out how to fix it. That was the thing. So you can learn how to fix a car or sew a button or whatever. You could figure something out. No. Now it's do well on a test because that matters. No, it doesn't. Test taking has zero value. Let me say it again in case you didn't know that. Test taking has zero value. It's not how you get ahead in life at all. She's just going to bring it up.
opportunity cost is, the new Oxford American Dictionary defines it as the loss of potential gains from other alternatives when one alternative is chosen. It's a term usually used for businesses where you have to take into account the cost of not doing something. An example of this would be a coffee shop owner choosing between opening a new location or staying with the one location that they have. While if they stayed with only one location, they could profit well, but that second location could have profited even more, and so by not opening it, they're losing out. Basically, the opportunity cost is the value of what you...
So she's talking about the value of capitalism, by the way, and she's impressed by it, as she should be. Oh, she'll turn in 5 seconds, but she's saying, see, we should be thinking about our lives like capitalists do. She just said that. Let's keep that in mind.
Don't do and what you lose when you don't pick the next best thing. So when applying this to childhood, you can see that.
So she wants to apply capitalistic values to childhood because that makes sense.
The way a child's time is allocated raises potential trade-offs. The reason the opportunity cost of childhood is so unique compared to adulthood is because for most kids, childhood is the only time in life where you have so much free time and mental energy to invest in yourself and who you're going to become. When we become adults, we get busy with our careers, bills, house maintenance, and
She's not wrong. All true. Okay, we're rocking
all
and
the
rolling.
other
Let's
adult
go.
responsibilities.
Okay,
While
maybe
children
I
do still
misjudged
have
her.
some
Well, no, I
responsibility,
didn't.
they have vastly more time on their hands, as they should. This is their time for exploring, trying, failing, and learning, and all of those.
Oh, no, 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 no. Failing is not good. We don't like that part. We got rid of that too. We got rid of failing. Get rid of
Things
that.
lay the foundation for who you will become. Childhood is a specific age of development, a stage where the architecture of the brain is being developed. It is the
True.
early experiences that will dictate the adult the child will grow up to be, whether
Also
that child
true.
will grow up to be compassionate or confident, or if she will be a critical thinker or a risk taker. So if you
Now, where in school do you learn any of that? I'm going to tell you real fast. Nowhere. Nowhere. All the things she has talked about, you don't learn in school. In school, you learn to conform and to repeat stuff and to take tests. None of that shit. Who's going to teach you that? Your mom? Women who are watching, don't be upset. I'm talking demographically, not you individually. The vast amount of moms are not happy with their kids taking risks. It scares them. It's in their DNA. The vast majority of women are worried. They don't want to do that. Who does? Dad. When it was snowed here in New York and I took my girls out in the snow, I took them out, not their mom. Why? Because they wanted to go on the stairs and slide down the icy stairs on the sled. And I went, okay. Yes. Okay. Their mom would have never let them do that. They want to go on a massive killer hill where everyone's going down and kids are falling off and breaking their arms. I said, okay. Their mom would have never let them do that. Their mom gets so mad at me when I bring my girls home, they will be filthy. Filthy. Dirty. Why? Because they want to play in dirt. Play. I don't care. Play. Go play. Well, they're going to get dirty. I'm aware of that. They're out playing. They can get dirty. So yeah, trashy stuff. Well, their clothes are there. I'll wash it then. I'll put it in the wash. I'll wash it. Fine. I'll wash the clothes. I accept. If that's the rule, that if their clothes gets dirty, I got to wash them. Done. I accept. And I'll wash them. But that's kind of how it works. And everything she said, that's not how school works.
miss out on this crucial window for self-discovery because you're caught up in other things that don't build character, then you're paying the price of the lost potential. An example.
Correct. Wade brings it up. In schools, they teach to never take risks. Correct. Absolutely. Yes. Mastermind now, without you being a member, my friend, failure is not an option. Sadly, that's true. And it should be. Look, don't get me wrong. For those of you who failed, and I'm sure all of you have, if you've learned a valuable lesson from it, you probably hated it then, but it was probably good for you. I know my failures. It sucked when I was failing. It sucked when I was being a loser. It sucked. But afterwards, many of my failures have been some of my best lessons.
Example of this is screen time, of course. While screen time for kids is not inherently bad, and a lot of parents use it, it's still the fact that for every hour a kid spends on their iPad is an hour that they're not spending in imaginative play, exploring the outdoors, or building social skills. It's not that one.
That's 100% true, except, and there's the exception. If you remember, I tell this story often when I saw my daughter, and she was on a screen, and she was watching at the time. It was a very popular guy at the time. It's many years ago, maybe 12 years ago, maybe more. I forgot how long ago it was. PewDiePie. PewDiePie was a very popular YouTuber. Not so popular now, but back then he was a very popular YouTuber. And she was watching PewDiePie, and he was watching somebody else play a video game. And she was watching him watch somebody else play a video. I'm like, I don't get this. I didn't understand. So I asked her, I said, why, what are you doing this? Why are you doing this? I don't get it. In my mind, either play the video game or watch tutorial to get better at the video game so you can play the video game. That's where my head went to. Now, I was completely wrong. I didn't get that. That's why I asked her. And she said, no, I feel like I'm watching with him. And I went, there's that parasocial relationship. I got it. And that's when it hit me. That's when it hit me. Because I didn't grow up with that. So I didn't know what a parasocial relationship was. I didn't know what that was. I had no idea. One of the reasons why I do this show live. Because your relationship with me is an actual live relationship. It's not parasocial unless you only watch the reboot, right? Unless you only watch it later. If you ever watch it live, it's me and you talking, right? So I didn't want her to have that. So I said, great, I'm going to watch with you. So her and I together used to watch PewDiePie. I knew PewDiePie because I watched together with her. And I've watched many YouTubers with my daughters, both of them. I know a bunch of YouTubers who are kind of for like teens and kids and even girly ones. I knew girly ones. There was a YouTuber who used to open up toys. That was like a thing. I don't know if they still do it, but they used to do thing. She would open up, she'd buy a new toy and she'd open it up, and we would all look at the toys and play with the toys together. And my little one used to like to watch her. Her name was Cookie Swirl C. I still remember. That was her. I don't know if she still does it at all, but she used to back in the day. And so I'd watch it with her because I wanted to be with my daughter. It was social. That was the issue. We'd talk to our friends about it. It was social. I made it social because of that exact issue. Second piece I bring up. I didn't mind them playing video games at all. As long as they played it with the family, it was good too. And as long as they were making something, my whole thing was creation. I tell my daughters all the time, create, and I give them tasks. So if they would, whatever, play some video game they'd like, and it would be, something would be about it, everything was cool. I would literally say to my youngest daughter, specifically, I'd say, write me a story about that. She said, what, Dad? I said, write me a story. About what? About these little creatures you're playing with. Write me a story. I want a story tomorrow. Write me a story. I want it by tomorrow. I would just tell her that. Go do it. And she would do it. And come back. I'd look at it, read it. We laugh about it, whatever. And then she'd begin to enjoy it. So that got her writing. My oldest one preferred drawing. So I said, draw me a picture. And she would draw me a picture. So she would start creating from the things she liked. That is what I started having her do. That's what dads do. That's what my dad did for me. Yes. My dad had me actually rewrite an entire book to make my penmanship better. Yes. So yes, that's what dads do. So that's how I was able to take that screen time and make it into creation time. We are all consumers. The question is, are we also creators? That's the issue. Are we also creators? And we're bringing our children together. We need to be doing that. That piece is a big deal. Morgan says, write me a story, uses GPT. I literally ask her that now. I want her to. I want her to now. In fact, in school, Morgan, I'm glad you brought this up. In school, literally, my youngest daughter is told, don't use AI. AI is bad. We should ban AI. She's told that in school. Insanely stupid. Insanely stupid. But she's being told to do this. So she feels bad using AI. I said, no, use AI every day. And I have literally told her, I said, start with I got our ChatGPT account. And I said, start with that. Say what you want, get it going, and then edit it and send it to me. So she does that. She starts with ChatGPT now. She writes a whole lot faster now. A whole lot faster. As will every writer now who uses ChatGPT. And the people who are not using ChatGPT and think that, oh, they're gonna ban AI. They're gonna be left in the dust. My kids won't. My kids will not be left in the dust. So yes, I'm fine. Please use ChatGPT. Use whatever AI works for you. That's the future. And school, sadly, is not teaching that. Colleges are starting to go. They're trying to sue some guy in college for that, for using AI. Why not? When you get into the real world, you're going to use AI. So why wouldn't college? Because college is stupid, not about the real world. Because school is stupid, not about the real world. That's why. In the real world, you are going to use AI. So why wouldn't you teach that in school? Because you don't care about that in school. That's the reason. Why wouldn't you use it in college? Because you don't care about that in college. That's the reason. So yes, you're right. So, but that's what we're hearing already. So yeah. All righty. I'm going to go over to, if I could, I'm heading over to Instagram. Meiji says, is it Meiji? Yeah. Raised in Catholic church, no more going, but was always told to put your spouse first. Found that to be so true. Correct. Spouse first. Correct. If you have a kid-centered family, everyone will suffer. Your kids will wind up suffering because they think they're awesome for being born, and they're not. They're awesome for doing awesome things. That's what makes the kids awesome. So help your kids do awesome things, and they'll be awesome. And you and your spouse will suffer. 100% true. Yes. So thank you for that. I appreciate that tremendously. Looking over on, hold on, give the Rumble. Peace, thank you for the Rumble rant. Does it feel like everything is corrupted in this world? Politics, parents, kids, customer service, just everything. This is all related. We are not learning how to communicate. Logic 101. True. That piece, thank you, Peace. That piece is absolutely true. The number one thing that we need is social skills. And she mentioned it. We're not getting it. Number one. The amount of times young people in my life, whether they're my children, my friends who are younger than me, literally call or text me how to do something socially, It's almost every day. Not every day, but probably 3 or 4 times a week. It's almost every day that someone's like, Larry, I got to say this thing. How do I say it? Larry, here's the email. What do I do? Larry, I got to talk to this guy. What should I say? How should I start this conversation? Should I talk about this? Talk about that? That's the norm. Probably 3 or 4 times a week. Yes, it's a serious issue. Joel goes on. Thank you for the $1 rant. My work currently has an AI use contest with a monthly $1,000 prize. Yes. Joel, thank you for that. That's happening. So now the work is now giving you money to be AI, and at school, like, don't use AI. What's wrong with it? Useless? Every month, every year, I hate college more. It's going to go under. College is going to change tremendously. And all the people who dropped $100,000 on college were like, I spent $100,000 on that. Yeah, you shouldn't have. You should listen to me. I've been telling you for 7 years to stop going to college without a plan. Unless you have a plan, then fine. I've been saying this forever. Stop unless you have a plan. Like, you want to be an engineer. You want to be a nurse. You want to be a doctor. You want to. Okay, great. Go to that school. You know what you want to do. Life is good. But just to go, literally a waste of your time, money, and energy. It just makes things worse. I've been saying it for 7 years. Goldman Sachs been saying it for 15. They said it longer than me. No one's listening. Thank you for that, Joel. I appreciate that. All right, let me head back over to YouTube if I can. Garrett coming in hot. Oh, look at you coming in hot. 5 memberships, guys. Thank you. Remember our rule on memberships. If you make $2 million a month or more, you may not take a gifted membership. All right? If you make $2 million or more, pay the $4.99, cheapo. You make $2 million a year. A month. So do it. If you make less than $2 million a month, 1.9 million or less is fine. Take the membership. Okay? 2 million is the cutoff. You make $2 million a month, you don't get to take one. Don't lie if you're out there with your $2 million self. Don't do that. Thank you, Garrett. I appreciate that tremendously. While Garrett is there, let me also let people know you can also click the button known as Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. If you do like it, please do so. It does matter. Please click the like button. It helps tremendously to move this thing forward. More people watch, more people see. If you have not shared this or reposted this, why do you hate the children? I don't know why you hate them. What do they do to you? You hate them. If you don't share or repost this, you hate the children. So please just do it and stop hating the children. On top of it, if you can, please follow me on Facebook, X, and Rumble. That's always awesome. For those of you who want to become a member, you can become a member if you want to on YouTube, either through grabbing what Garrett just gave, or you can always, of course, click also the join button on YouTube for $49 per month. That's always great for us. The more members I get, the less I have to actually do work, so I can spend more time doing this and read more of your stuff you send me, because you guys are sending me a lot of stuff for me to check. I have been trying to take some time every day to go through things you guys have been sending me. It does take time. Some of you send me like 2-hour-long things, so I got to zip through it to see if it makes sense, that kind of stuff. Someone sent me this one too. So yes, this is a half hour. So I am going through them. It does take some time, but I'm trying. So you can also, if you want to, join them, become a member over on Rumble, and that's $49 per month on Rumble. Click, if you would, subscribe only during the live. So always good if you want. And why would you want to become a member? Because members get to send me stuff. See, you might get your stuff here, but not just that. You can come on our show. Yeah, you can come on our show. We're going to do a member show coming up in a couple weeks. You could be here with me talking all the trash if you want to, but no matter what is free? Clicking the button known as like. All right, let me keep walking down this road if I could. A couple more of these.
Option is bad. It's that there's a better option that's lost. Another opportunity cost is from overscheduling your child. While it's great to be in organized sports and activities, there is a cost of taking away that room for boredom, creativity, or self-directed exploration. And the opportunity cost is something we can apply to parenting as well. Overprotecting your kids will, of course, keep them safe in the short term, but the cost is that it robs them of resilience, grit, and confidence.
Resilience, and I bring it up all the time, grit. Grit and resilience is critical, and confidence is critical. You want these things. How do you do that? By failing and getting back up. That is how you do it. By failing or getting back up. That's the critical issue. If you do that, now you're gaining resilience. But if you protect your kids, they gain nothing. You are, the more you protect your kids, there's a point to where you're simply harming them now. You're making things bad. But Larry, my kid might get hurt. My kid might die. True. Your kid might get hurt and die anyway. I don't mean to be cruel. but you want to put it in the best odds you possibly can for your kid. I'm not saying be stupid with your kid. I'm not saying that. I'm saying let your kid fail, right? We've gone from helicopter parents, which are parents that hover over their kids to make sure nothing goes wrong, to bulldozer parents, which push every obstacle out of their way so the kids just walk through perfectly and think they're awesome and amazing. Both of them are bad.
Scholars generally agree that the purpose of the extraordinarily long childhood and adolescence in our species is enculturation, acquiring all the skills and all the knowledge, all the customs and behaviors which you must know in order to be competent in the culture in which you live. And this is what I want to break down in today's video. The different ways children are being stifled in childhood and held back from reaching their full potential because they're spending too much time on activities that don't build them up to be fully functioning adults.
Correct.
On the note of freedoms and reaching your full potential,
all right, I'm going to pass this and hope for the calendar kids.
Now it's part of your job as a parent to help develop your child. Many in the modern day are overdoing it, and we see this through the overscheduling.
Note what you keep seeing. What you keep seeing is TikTok moms. This is her world, and sadly for most people, this is a lot of women in America's world, TikTok moms.
Of children's lives. We all want what's best for our kids. And with that, we want to give them either the opportunities that we had growing up or better, of course. But this often takes shape by filling every spare hour of our kids' lives with extracurriculars. Canadian children and youth ages 6 to 17 were surveyed, and the majority of children and youth, 86%, participated in at least one extracurricular activity. As well, in another survey, parents were asked how frequently their child participated in a sport on a weekly basis, and almost a quarter reported that their child participated 4 or more times a week, and an additional 38% reported 2 to 3 times a week.
How many you come home from school, eat a snack, and run outside and play?
Like, nobody raised their hand that they go home and play. Why not? What do you do after school instead?
Mondays I have hip hop dance.
On Tuesdays I have like this filming thing that my mom wants me to do, but I don't want to do it.
I've heard that before.
And then on Wednesdays I have basketball practice. Thursdays I have set and design.
Are you guys tired all the time? It sounds like everyone's exhausted.
Yes. So
all right, here's the thing. Look, for those of you who are raising kids, I've raised kids, I'm still raising one. You can easily blame the parents for this one. This one isn't just the parents' fault, to be very forward. Here, I'm going to give the parents a break. There's no kids outside to play with because they're all doing the same shit, right? So you want to send your kid out to go play with who? The kids aren't outside. Oh, the parents think, I can't let my kid outside. It's going to die. Your kid's not going to die, but my kid's going to die. So I can't let my kid out. So I got to keep my kid locked up somehow, or under lock and key, or with a nanny, or with somebody to where I can't let them out at all. So there's no one out to play with. So even if you sent your kid outside, he or she's by themselves. They're like, I don't be by myself. I'd rather go online and play Roblox with friends who aren't in my community. So I don't even know my community. Because if you're on Roblox, you have no idea where these people are from. They could be from your community. They could be from the country, the city, the state, the town, halfway across the world. You don't know. So this is society. I know it sounds bad to blame society now, but it kind of is because the other kids aren't outside. When I was a kid, it was fine to knock on somebody's door and say, hey, can Johnny come out and play? It's the thing you used to do. Not anymore. You knock on someone's door now, they go, get away from here. Crazy kid. They call the cops. It's crazy. Phil, thank you for a gifted Sharpe membership, my friend. Yes, thank you, my friend. Please, guys, grab these if you can. Remember our rule. And Matt, another gifted membership, guys. Thank you so much for the memberships. They're really important. I do appreciate it. Yes, remember our rule. You $2 million people. Don't go nuts. Yes. Shelly says, thank you for being a member, Shelly. My kids used to tell me that not everything is educational, but it is. My mom said, if you don't do it wrong, you can't learn how to do it right. There's an old saying I use in business. And the saying in business is, if you don't have the right answer, put the wrong answer on the table. Why? Well, if I don't have the right answer, and I say, Shelly, give me the answer. She goes, I don't know. I say, Phil, give me the answer. He goes, I don't know. All right, I'll put the wrong answer on the table. Now what does Shelly do? That can't work. Why can't it work? She tells me, this won't work, that won't work. Okay, pull that off. Phil goes, this won't work, that won't work. Okay, Phil, how do we fix that? Well, we do this. Shelly, how do we fix it? We do this. And we wind up getting the right answer by putting the wrong answer on the table. Because you can recognize the wrong answer. Shelly knows what's wrong. She's like, that's not going to work. Phil knows what's wrong. Okay, that's not going to work. Okay, so what is then? And you start building the right answer from the wrong answer. So Shelly, I said that in business, but you're right. In life, it's the same thing. It's totally the same thing. Absolutely true. it's the same thing. So I appreciate that.
Kids are busy, to say the least, because while a sport can take up only 1 or 2 nights a week, you have to look at the big picture of the kid's schedule, where they might also have piano lessons and their siblings' sports games to go to and after school clubs or whatever else. It accumulates very quickly. But while these activities, again, are beneficial on their own, of course,
They are good.
The downside is that kids often miss out on the unstructured time that they need.
I think kids' sports are ruining families, marriages, and kids themselves.
Okay, this person is a horrible human being, but that's fine. This TikToker is just someone who just hates men, hates everything. She lives up her own ass. She's a horrible person, but I've decided to. Let me move on to a couple before I just saying how bad she is. Joel brings up a point. He says, my sister did this with her 3 girls: dance, tennis, swimming, track, etc., etc. They were always in the run. They all turned out good, but I'm not sure if whose idea all the activities were. So 3 parts to that, Joel. Number 1, did she also, and I don't know this, maybe you do, did she also give them free time? These things aren't bad. It's good. My daughters were in basketball and dance. I don't mind that, right? Whatever. Well, softball too. Whatever. It's not bad to be in these sports at all, even a couple days a week. The question is, did your sister also give her daughters time to be social, time to hang out with friends, time to just create things? If she did, I'm sure they turned out wonderfully. The question is, again, this is about overscheduling, to where you have dance on Monday and then tennis, and you get home, you do homework, go to bed, right? That's happening in Korea right now. And Korea is a basket case. It is a destroyed society. Korea is about to go under as a nation in 20 years. It's destroyed because that's how they do it. Or did the girls have dance and tennis during one season and were able to still have fun? And then they had swimming and track another season and were able to still have fun. That's it. Number 2, I don't know this, Joel. Are those girls, your nieces, are they in relationships they're happy with? Right? Did they grow up to have happy relationships? I have no idea if they did. And happiness is they decide if the relationships are happy. And it's not happy romantic. Do they have fun and exciting friendships? Do they have good romantic relationships? If those 2 things are true, your sister killed it. Well done. Amazing. If the girls are suffering and don't have good friendships and can't find romantic partners, assuming they want them, again, assuming they judge relationships, right? If they're happy with the relationships, awesome. If they're not, that could have been a problem too. So that would be my way of looking at that. If you had asked my opinion, did she also give them the other free time? And then are the relationships, are they happy with their relationships, both romantic and non-romantic? If yes, then yeah, good job. Yeah, good job.
My son was in 2 sports in the spring, and we had something every single night of the week.
Yes, but you cheated on your husband and threw him out of your house. That's true. She did that. So yeah, it doesn't matter.
Practice. And then we had a practice or a game, and then we had games on the weekends as well. And we were exhausted. Everybody was exhausted, but this has gotten insane.
You could have just stopped it.
My kids are 6 and 9. And at this level of competition,
you could just stop.
Expectation that we have of kids at this age, I think it's detrimental. I think it's harming.
Then why aren't you stopping?
More than it's helping. And I don't think burning yourselves to the ground, running kids around every single night and every single weekend.
What about taking time out of your day every day to make TikToks? You're so busy.
Is the answer.
Many parents today have this
Sorry, I have an issue with her, clearly. That's a personal thing, but
fear that if their child isn't achieving, then they're failing, with a total disregard of the benefits of the in-between time. In our capitalist world, it all comes down to capitalism. I swear every video has a...
Literally, she said, the way to look at things is through a capitalist lens. And now she says, all comes down to capitalism. At no point did I see capitalism, except the people on TikTok or her now making money here. By the way, she's going to tell you, coming up here, that she quit her job so she can do a full-time YouTube to make more money because she's a capitalist. All comes down to capitalism.
Capitalism theme, but we're taught that a meaningful life
Hypocrite
means
much?
winning every academic and professional race. But
That's absolutely not true. That's not what we're told. We're told victory as kids is winning academic only. That's what we're told. So yes. Minor Threat says, my neighbor who was a grown man and a lawyer used to knock on our door and ask me to play. That's kind of weird. Kim says, too many predators out there to allow kids to play outside with other kids. No way I allow my kids to go out and play without supervision. To be very forward with you, Kim, the reality of it is twofold. One, you can go out there and let the kids play, but just be in the area. I used to do it. I said I'd take my daughters out. I would just sit in a bench and hang out, or hang out with some guys and talk. I'd be in the area and let them play. You can still do that. That you don't have to. I'm not saying like go. I mean, when I was a kid, my dad said, "Get out. I don't want to see you till dinner." So that was how my dad did it. Because the reality is there aren't that many predators out there. Most of the predators out there are people you know. And it's by a vast majority, something like 90%. I don't know the exact number. Someone could check. It's a huge percentage. Kids who are abducted or harmed or assaulted in any way, it is like 90% of the people who they know. It's not the stranger. That's TV stuff. That's actually not true. The stranger is the least chance of you, because when the stranger comes up, if you're in the area, they just yell and you go whip that stranger's ass. And the stranger knows that and they run away. That's why it doesn't happen. It's really people you know. It's the uncle, the cousin, the auntie, the grandpa. It's that. That's who it actually is. It's the neighbor who knows you, the guy who is in your neighborhood, the guy who knocked on Minor Threat's door. It's that lawyer. That's who it actually is. It's not the stranger. It's just not a thing. The stats show that to be true. And again, you could just go out with them. I didn't let my daughters go by themselves. I let them play all they wanted. I was just in the area. If my daughter yelled, "Dad," I was there. And somebody would have gone to the hospital that day, or maybe the morgue, but whatever, that would have happened. And I'm okay with that. So yes. Phil says, structure is helpful. Being able to push those good. A day of rest is nice. True. Minor Threat says, Korea plastic surgery capital, or one. Yes. Yes. Korea is the plastic surgery capital because nobody's happy. Correct. Yes. 100%. Lunatic in the house. Thank you for remembering, my friend. Exposing your children to multiple facets of knowledge. You can allow them to explore everything. That's what I've been doing. Yes, that's what I've been doing. Showing them everything and having them pick. Yes, absolutely. 100% true.
Those achievements alone don't bring genuine happiness. The middle class script says that a child's priorities must be school, college, and career. And
she's not wrong on that. That's true. But how's that capitalism? That was true in socialist states too. That didn't change. In fact, in socialist countries, school's more important because indoctrination is more important. More important, right? Remember, in socialist countries, unless you were part of the absolute tippity top, you don't get to go to private school. And the private schools you go to, if you tip top, are not in your country. You send your kids outside of your country because all your schools and your socialist countries are indoctrination centers. I mean, so are ours. But our public schools are. But middle-class people send their kids to private school. I sent my daughters to private school here. So you can send your kids to private school, middle class in America. In socialist countries, you cannot. They don't exist. So if you're very super wealthy, part of the government, the elites, you send your kids to school in England, you send them to school in Germany, you send them to school in America, Hong Kong even, back in the day. Now you don't, but back in the day, Hong Kong, not anymore. So everything she's saying is absolutely not capitalism at all. She's just an ideologue.
And anything else that doesn't fit into those categories are unnecessary or a waste of time. This 2023 survey shows a large majority of parents, 88%, said that it was very or extremely important for kids to be financially independent, which is a polite way of saying financially well off. But only 21% of parents thought it was important for kids to get married, and only 20% thought it was important for kids to have a child of their own.
That is a huge problem. We're not even encouraging our kids to be married anymore. We're not encouraging our kids to pair bond. How many times on this show, at least every 2 weeks, I do a show on us pair bonding? Why? Because the vast majority of us want a relationship. Not everybody does. Don't get me wrong. Not everybody does. But the vast majority of us do want a relationship. And it's not happening. And it makes us unhappy. And eventually it turns us into Korea. Right, as Minor Threat says, and all of a sudden we're all getting plastic surgery to look hotter because we think, well, if I just get one more plastic surgery, then someone will love me, right? That's what we start thinking. We don't even worry about this. We focus on the wrong things. We think if I just get my career, then a man will love me. No. If I just get my career, then a woman will love me. No. No, I mean, I'm not saying you should be poor. I'm not. Please make all the money you want. Make lots of it if you want to. But also, if you want a relationship, and most people do, then you should work on that too. Parents aren't saying that. Parents aren't.
Now, I don't include this to say that everyone needs kids to be happy. That is not at all what I'm trying to get at, but that parents are more concerned about financial achievements than social or emotional achievements.
Yes, correct.
And this path leads kids to focus on one trajectory, one storyline, which is that your career path will bring you happiness. And as anyone with a career can tell you, that alone will not fulfill you, at least
Never
for most
will.
people. As Alexander Kelmer said, the 3 grand essentials of happiness are something to do, someone to love, and something to hope for.
So what I would say is I turn this around a little bit and I say, so you have to feel loved, feel respected, and have purpose. So close to that. I'm smarter and better than him, but still close.
And none of those things stand alone.
And modest.
And kids are now
Modest
entering the
thing.
workforce feeling lost because they've reached those life goals of getting the academics and getting the career, but find themselves directionless because they have no real hobbies, no social skills, and no personality.
And the point is, all that school was useless, meant nothing. And they said, here, but I do care about school too much. Why? It means nothing. I don't mean to be cruel. I don't mean to rub it. No, I do mean to rub it into your face. It means nothing. I'm a good test taker. So I know stuff. ChatGPT knows more than you. I can do math. So can a computer. So can AI. Better than you. Your school means something. I can pass a test. So can ChatGPT. Better than you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Social skills matter. Figuring out that. I told my daughter went to college for art. And she said to me, she said, Dad, I feel bad because there's some people who can draw better than me. I said, doesn't matter at all. She said, what? Doesn't matter at all. I said, every one of those guys who draw well, they're all going to be broke. They can do something else. It doesn't matter anymore. She said, what do you mean? I said, remember something. Finding an artist who's really good at drawing, there's a gazillion of them. They're everywhere. New York City, oh my God. New York City, they're everywhere. I could throw a rock. It'll hit 6 people. 2 are financial advisors and or sell insurance. 2 are actors who can't act. And then 1 is a graphic artist or designer or artist who can draw very well. They're all over the place here in the city. I mean, outside the city, maybe not. Here, all over the place. It's far more important to know what to draw. That's the critical piece. Not to know how to draw. Lots of people in New York City where I live know how to draw. Lots of them do. I mean, by the thousands. That's why they can't get work. That's why there's the starving artists, because they're all here. There's so many of them. We don't require them. And now we require less of them because of AI. So what matters is knowing what to draw. And my daughter took that into her head. And she didn't waste 4 years in college. She got her college degree, full college degree, in 2 years. Because why would you waste time in a place where you're not learning anything? But she was learning how, not how to draw, but learning what to draw. She got a degree in sequential arts, which is how do you figure out to storytell? Storytelling far more important than knowing what to draw. That's what matters. Grades, I don't care. I don't care. I barely graduated high school. Barely. Nobody cared. Then I had a 3.8 GPA in college. Nobody cared. It didn't matter. It's irrelevant. It means nothing. I know I keep saying it, but parents keep shoving their kids into useless colleges without having a plan for college. I'm not against college. I'm against college without a plan. It is stupid. They keep worrying about the I'm going to give you a true story. My daughter's last year in high school was during the COVID lockdowns. And I said, don't bother going to school anymore. She said, what? I said, don't bother going to school. It doesn't matter. Don't bother showing up. Don't bother going to school. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. She goes, what do you mean? I said, this is relevant. Don't bother. They're going to graduate you. She goes, what? I said, they're going to graduate you. I said, nothing you're learning has any value. Anything you learn your last year of high school has no value after 5 years. It's relevant. This means nothing. You're not going to use it. It's not going to matter. And they're going to graduate you anyway. So go to college. So I put her into college in her last year of high school. That's how she was able to graduate so early. So, Lara, how'd you get her into college? Verbal check. That's how colleges work. So she went to college her first year while she was actually still in high school. Of course, New York City graduated her because New York City graduates everybody. They don't care. High schools don't care. Once she was going to college, and you hear me say this all the time, once she was going to college, she now got into her placement numbers, placement to college. They get money from the federal government for having a high placement score. That's all they care about is getting her cash. They don't care about her. They want to get paid. So once she got into college, they got the checkbox. Bye. Take your diploma, leave. You can leave. They didn't care. They didn't care at all. I knew they wouldn't. She didn't miss anything. So she got a year of college while she was in high school because lockdowns showed what a joke our school system is. Kids can't read. They don't care. Move on. Then she takes a couple other CLEP tests, some summer classes, out in 2 years. That's how we dealt with that issue. So anyway, I went a bit long, but that's what I meant. Let me keep going if I can.
Obviously a generalized statement. But this is because they weren't given the opportunity to find what they like and what they don't like and invest in the things that resonate with them. And with that, kids nowadays are spending less time in unstructured play outdoors than ever before. In one generation in the UK and US, outdoor play has decreased by 71%. Instead, outdoor play is being replaced by more screen time with schools and parents prioritizing academic learning over play. What we're missing.
And so what I would often do is I had to be that playmate. And luckily my father, passed away when I was a kid, but when I was little, he used to physically play with me. Like he would sit on the floor and play with me. So I copied that same model. So I played on the floor with my daughters. We played dolls, we played bricks, we played blocks, we played whatever. I didn't care. Play with My Little Pony. My daughter liked My Little Pony. The other one used to like Care Bears. So we played Care Bears on the floor. And I don't care. Yes. If that's going to keep my kids' imagination going, that's going to make a bond with me and my daughters, I guess we're doing Care Bears today. Okay, I don't care. All good, right? All good. So yeah, we would play those games together, whatever. Didn't care because sometimes they didn't always have friends. Whenever they could have friends, I went out of their way to take. I became friends with her friends' parents, whether I liked them or not. Didn't care. I become friends because my daughter needs friends. You're my friend now. We don't get along about it. We do now. That's it. We do now. That's what I thought was a priority for my kids. It was very important. Shelly's trying to make me jealous, and it's working. She says, my kids had 42 acres to play on. I had 250. All right, you were trying to make me jealous, Shelly. It worked. Well done. Well done. I grew up in the Bronx. There weren't any acres. We had blocks, concrete. Patty says, this is a wealthy family issue. I know families who have both parents working multiple jobs and no time for extracurriculars. It's a very valid point, Patty. But if you notice, this is TikTok moms. That's what this is. This is TikTok moms. And TikTok moms are a lot of America. It's true. TikTok moms are a lot of America. And this is all TikTok moms. So yeah, it's true, right? A lot of times when the mom has to work 2-3 jobs, see if there's no male. But if there is a male, he may have to work 2-3 jobs. And then the kids are being raised by grandma or by uncle or something. So yeah, it's a problem. I agree. That's why I mentioned up front, Patty. I think I knew you or someone might think something like that. So I said, remember, this is TikTok moms. So yes. John says, yep, which is why you should always listen to your child when they do not want to be alone with someone or with someone as a babysitter. Correct. Always, John, I always listen to the kid when they are concerned. If my daughter would ever tell me, I don't trust that guy, you're gone. You're gone. 100% agree. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Got it. So, all righty. Mike says, financially independent does not mean well off. It means fiscal responsibility, understanding investments and rewards over time priorities. This lady's an idiot. Okay, yeah, she is an idiot. It's true. However, she's still right. That's what people mean when they say it. You are correct, Mike, on the actual definition of it. That's true, right? Your definition is an accurate definition, but they don't mean that. They're not being accurate. They're not doing that. They're like, gotta make a lot of money. That's what they mean. So again, you are correct. It's not what they mean, though. She knows her people. She knows what her people mean, and she's right.
Here is that children are getting their self-worth from academics and extracurricular achievements rather than from who they are. The simple joys of life are taken out when the fear of underachieving is driving the narrative of childhood. As said here, by cramming a child's life full of activities at 8 years of age, with little free time for reflection, with no quiet time for relaxing, no parent and child supper, this mom is sending an unintended message.
No parent and child supper. I try my damnedest to eat with my kids every day. And I do almost every day. There's some exceptions, but almost every day I break bread with my kids. Usually I cook because I'm keto, and keto is magic. We've covered this already. Keto's magic. So I make myself a keto breakfast with my daughter or daughters if I can. I make myself keto dinner with my daughter or daughters if I can. Absolutely. So yes, I try to eat with my kids whenever I can, almost every day. Usually every day, sometimes twice a day. Today, twice a day. Yes, I cook both times. I do cook because keto's magic, and I make keto breakfast. My daughter likes keto baking, but I like keto cooking. So we do it. Why? Why do we have supper together? Because we have to have time to talk. I remember I was coaching a guy years ago, very wealthy gentleman, ran a company, a CEO, international company. And he got divorced, and he was trying to spend time with his son, who was a teenager at the time. And I said, you need to have your son living with you for a short period of time. You have to. He said, what do you mean? I can see him here. I said, no, you need him to come home and see. You need to have your daughter too, but just both of them to come. They're teenagers. They have to come and spend time with you. I said, I know that it's important that you do cool things with your kids. I know it's important, of course, but it's just as important for your daughter to stand in the bathroom with you and watch you shave, and your son to see you fix something or move something. Just to see, it's important for your children to see you do that. It's important for them to feel that way and understand who you are as a person, the human things you do every day. It also matters because you want them to be talking to you and asking you questions about things and having conversations. And the supper, which we often don't do in America anymore, we've lost, is a critical aspect of talking to your children. Lunatic, perfect. Okay, he read my mind. He says, I go on walks with my oldest son to explain the world with him. That works too. I like supper, but walks works too, right? When I run errands, I will often take my oldest daughter with me. And in New York City, we walk, right? I mean, walk everywhere. I don't drive any place in New York City, right? I walk. So we walk to pick this up. We walk to go drop that off. We walk to go do this. I'll take her with me. Come with me. And we'll walk together. So you're going on walks. I go to walks with my oldest daughter. Same thing. This is the kind of thing we should be doing. Duke of Heck says, modernity has made pair bonding obsolete. We're telling people that their happiness is paramount. So duty and sacrifice are secondary to one's happiness. True. It's true. Yes, it is true. Absolutely. So, all righty. See if I can go here. Kim's like your description better, Larry. Thank you. Mastermind says, Larry just summed up my whole existence. I forgot which thing that was, but good. I'm so busy yapping, I forget which thing it was. So that was good, though. So yes. All right, let's see if I can keep going down here with a couple more here.
Do is more important than who you are. And that's something else that we're seeing is very common among children today, is that they aren't eating dinner as a family because they're out every evening for their sports and activities. Oh.
No, not just that. That's an excuse. That's one thing. But it's also because parents don't want to cook anymore. You sing it. Parents don't want to cook. And seeing one of your parents, in this case, me usually, cook, prepare meals is a good thing. You want your kids to see you serving others and serving them. You don't want them to think that serving people is beneath them or bad, because that shows up in other things they do in life. Serving people who you love is a very important and valuable thing. I learned in the Marine Corps. For those of you who don't know, if you in the Marine Corps, when you go out in the field, Mike will remember this for sure. When you go out to the field, the junior people always eat first, and the senior people serve them. I'm not joking. If you ever get hot chow, you don't always get hot chow. Usually you get your MREs. Well, back in the 80s and 90s when I was in, you did. But if you ever got hot chow and they bring it out into the field, the youngest or the junior Marines, the privates and PFCs come up first, and the platoon sergeants and the first sergeant and the commanding officer serves them, literally puts the food on their plate. I was a platoon sergeant. I literally served my troops. And when they all ate, if there was something left, the hot food, then I ate. The captain, who was captain of our company, was the last person to eat hot food if there was any left. And it usually was. He usually had enough, so usually he ate. But sometimes there wasn't, and he didn't get any hot food. That's how it worked. Now, when you go back to garrison, the officers have their own special food, whatever. But in the field, the senior people serve the juniors. That's an important thing for kids to see. They should see that. And like, it's okay to serve people you love. It's okay to serve people. That's not a bad thing. That's not beneath you, right? We had literally the commanding officer, the captain, is sitting there slopping them. Here you go. Take your potatoes, right? Slopping it on you. He's serving, as he should. I was a platoon sergeant. I'm sitting there serving. Absolutely. So it's what you did. And when I was a private, I got served by them, right? When I was a private, then I got promoted, and I was doing a serving. So that's how that worked. And I wasn't mad at it at all. Nobody was. It was a normal way of thinking. A normal way of thinking.
Over the past 3 decades, family time at the dinner table and family conversation in general has declined by more than 30%. Families with children under the age 18 report having family dinners 3 to 4 times per week. 1/3 of families with 11 to 18-year-olds only eat 1 or 2 meals a week together.
Look at that.
Only
That's
1/4
bad.
eat 7 or more family meals per week. And I can't.
This is a problem. So, Shelly, by the way, Kayjan, she's happy with you. She goes, Shelly, in my next life, I'm going to grow up like you, or could you adopt me now? I think we're all going over Shelly's house. That's what I'm saying. We're all going over Shelly's house. I like that. Absolutely. So, Liberty Lady says, but did Larry dress up and have tea party with his daughters? I did not dress up. I never did the dress up thing. My daughters never asked if I never did anyway. I wouldn't have anyway. I'm not a dress up guy. I'll show up as I am, and we'll play together. We don't got to dress up. My daughters, when they were little, like 4, 3, love dress up. With the two shoes that are too big, and they love that. I'd love to put it together. Go do your thing, dress up. Loved it. As they got older, they grew out of it very quickly, though. They grew out of it very quickly. And my oldest one, not huge into girly stuff. My youngest one, still kind of into girly stuff. But they grew out of it relatively quickly. And again, whatever. I don't care. Kids are kids. They'll do as they see fit. I don't really mind either way. So yes. Kim says you're a parent until you die. True. Kim, you're not wrong. True. Andrea says, lots of people don't cook or they just order out. And we wonder why we aren't healthy as a nation. True, but I'll go one step further, Andrea, to Mike's earlier point, right? About being financially independent. Understanding that if you just keep ordering out, you not only are you being unhealthy, you're also throwing your money away. Both are true, right? Both are true. Now, again, if you got tons of money, it's up to you. You want to throw all your money away on food? Okay, that's your money. But don't be surprised when your kids don't see the value of money because all they think is Uber Eats. That's all they think. Is DoorDash. That's all they think. Nothing else. So, yeah, I get it. But, yeah. John says it's important that your child help when they are young, even if it takes long to get the job done. So, John, so true. As they grow older, they will continue to want to help instead of tuning out when you ask them for help. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. So I completely agree. That's an important piece, John. Important piece.
Really fault them either, really. Like, we're just entering the sports age, and I can see how it can very quickly get out of hand. With only one child, you're committing to multiple nights a week for one sport, including some weekends. So, of course, if you have more children, those nights fill up very fast. The problem is from...
Absolutely. I'm going to head over to Instagram if I could. Go back to Meiji says, after 14 years of spouse putting kids first, I suffered and we grew distant. Boy, yes. I understand that completely. Finally, after 14 years, I got out. My daughter was fine, but my son had a hard time. Yeah. One of the issues you find is, generally speaking, again, this is demographically, not individually, you find the opposite child, gender-wise, supports the opposite parent. So the daughters tend to support the dads, and the sons tend to support the moms. That's just a tendency. It's not 100% rule, obviously. When there's a problem like that, they tend to. Sons tend to defend their moms. Daughters tend to defend their dads, regardless of who's right or wrong, whatever. That's a tendency. You see that happen often. So when the dad goes away, the daughter suffers tremendously and often looks for another male to replace that, unless there's another male in the family. Again, it's best if it's dad, not required to be dad. Grandpa's there, uncle's there, older brother's there, cousin is there. It could still work, but you find it happening. Same with the son, though. The son can also suffer even worse because it's harder for the son to find somebody. The daughter will often find a romantic partner to fill that gap. It's not easy for a son to find another male role model in that area, and the son will often suffer when the dad leaves, worse than the daughter, because the daughter it's easier for the daughter to find a male role model than it is for the son to. So yeah, it's an issue. I get it. I always say it all the time. Our prisons are filled with fatherless sons. Filled. It's something like 80-something%, something like that. Or like, single mom households. It's crazy how common that is in prisons. It's crazy how common it is.
The lack of acknowledging how important those family dinners are and making time for them. They've actually found that
Kim says it.
Dinner as a family.
Family meals are extremely important. You are correct. Yes, yes, and yes. She goes on to say home cooked meals are also very important. Nothing says love better than nurturing with a home cooked meal. 100% yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm looking back over at Instagram, and Meiji says, in my case, son wanted to be with dad, daughter wanted to be with me. Son ended up being a latchkey kid. Oh, not a good outcome. Not a good outcome. Sorry about that, Meiji. I hope he's been able to kind of get back in action, because many of us fall down. I did too, more than once. Hopefully we can get ourselves back in action, right? It does sometimes take time, but hopefully we can get ourselves back in action. I hope so. All right.
Turn out way healthier and way more
True.
well-rounded than kids who don't. Kids who have more meals with parents were less likely to have internalized problems, such as feeling sad, anxious, or lonely. They were less likely to have externalizing problems, such as fighting, skipping school, or stealing.
Yep.
They were more likely to help each other more, likely to be satisfied with their own life. So this isn't...
It's a big deal. Yes, 100%. It's a big deal. So Duke says, I wish I could keep my boys at 6, hate them for growing up. I look back at that, and I was telling my daughters this. I love my daughters when they were real little, like 3. Like that age for me was amazing, because I could still communicate with them. It was fun. They would laugh at almost anything I was always funny, right? Even when I thought they could make them laugh. They wanted to play a lot, which was fun. They were cute as can be. 3-year-old kids are just adorable. They were out of diapers, so that was good too. I could still walk outside with them, travel them a little bit, take them places. It was still kind of cool. And I could solve all their problems by picking them up, right? Like whatever was making them cry or sad, I could pick them up, give them a hug. All good. That doesn't work anymore, Duke. They're a tad older. That doesn't work anymore. But that's my age for my girls is like 3. Like that to me was just, 3-year-olds are cute. I mean, I don't care who you are. 3-year-olds are cute in general. And of course, my kids were the cutest, of course, as any dad would say. But 3-year-olds are cute. And they're old enough, but not too old. And I'm still Superman to them, which is awesome, right? When my girls were 3, I was Superman. That was awesome too. I loved all that stuff. So I completely agree. So yeah. Shelly says, Duke affects the only consolidation is grandkids. Sadly, mine's out of states. I agree with that. Right? I'm waiting on grandkids still. That's my next one. Grandkids. Yeah.
Something that should just be brushed off as just for caloric intake. Having regular dinners together creates a strong family bond and one of the best indicators of a child's success in life. When they have the confidence and security that comes from their family, they're more likely to be able to handle the bumps and bruises that come from life. Also, I can't leave this section without emphasizing the benefits of academics and athletics either. I was an athlete, an all-right academic, and those were very valuable parts of my childhood. So I don't want to brush that off. It's just the overemphasis and overcommitment that
she's obviously left-winger because she has to always virtue signal on everything. She
we're
has
talking
to.
about here. Again, the opportunity cost of choosing too much of one thing and not another.
See that? The no sleep bus club.
The other problem we're seeing is that it's not just the scheduled activities that are taking up all of our kids' time. Of course, there are plenty of other time-sucking activities that are not benefiting our children.
No sleep, bus, club, another club.
One of those things, of course, like I mentioned, is screens. Now, I don't want to beat this topic to death because I've talked about it many times before, that iPads are not good for children. But it still remains a fact that 43% of alphas own tablets before the age of 6, and 58%.
That to me is surprising. Before 6. Now, my daughters used tablets before 6. They did use them, but it was for specific things. Right? They didn't just have it to play with. That wasn't the thing. They used it for a thing like, okay, we're going on a trip, you're in the back of the car, whatever, you want to play for a little bit. Okay, fine. Or they were at a friend's house and all together to get together and they play a little game, whatever. So they had it as a tool to use. We give it to them. They wouldn't have it until they got older. But I guess that's different now.
8% own a smartphone by 10. The thing I want to hone in on.
My kids got a smartphone when they were teenagers. And my oldest one, literally just recently, she's 21. She voluntarily got a flip phone. She's like, I don't want this. I want a flip phone. Yeah.
Today, though, is the epidemic of video games. Because while a lot of Gen Alpha are iPad kids, some of them are preteens and teenagers now.
And you have to beat up boys, too.
And are hooked onto their Roblox and Minecraft. It also was important for me to include this.
I played both. I still have a Roblox account. I still have a Minecraft account. I still have both. Absolutely. And my daughters used to love Roblox. Now, not so here or there. They used to like Minecraft a lot. Now they only like Minecraft now if all of us play together and we're like building something or doing something silly. Otherwise, they don't play Minecraft at all anymore. They're older now, so they don't. But and they only play Roblox now, again, if we're all together. I built that into them when they were little, that it's almost like a game night. So to this day, even though now they're older, they still want to play when we're all together. So sometimes we'll still play all together. Otherwise, we won't do it anymore. But I still have the accounts.
Because I feel like girls get a lot of the hate for screen addiction because of their social media usage, but boys are just as bad, just in different media. Anyway, while most children...
Okay, that's okay, no. Why? Are you going to take boys' side? Well, maybe, but there's a difference. When boys are playing video games, very often, not always, but very often, they're actually building real relationships with people who they actually know and will meet one day. Not just that, they're also using teamwork and playing together, making teams and being competitive and learning something. I'm not saying that all gamers are good guys. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying relative to someone who just goes on TikTok so they can get fake accolades from people who they'll never meet, who don't know them, there's a relationship with. Different. That's what I'm saying.
Play used to be in the form of outdoor play, as we know. The modern American child is now more likely to spend their time in front of a screen. With technology deeply woven into every aspect of a child's life and permissive parents lacking the boundaries to limit screen time.
There is the key, the permissive parent piece. Greg brings it up. Thank you, Greg, for being a member. It falls first on the parent, who is me. I will not make any excuses. My wife and I also had a lot of conversations before we got married and had kids about how we would raise them. I cannot say how important that is. You don't, and I've had this happen before with people who, when I got married, I let my wife know that I need to have kids and I want that as part of my life. Otherwise, I don't want to get married. I don't. And she was like, and she at first got angry at me because she took it as, this is how she took it, as, oh, so if I can't have children, I'm not a good enough woman. I was like, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm adopted. So why would I be against adoption, right? Adopt kids. I don't care. In vitro. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I just wanted kids. I didn't care whether we adopted them. I didn't care whether we had them naturally, in vitro. It didn't matter to me at all, but I wanted kids. It's very important to me to have kids. Now, other people, not so important. And Greg, you got to make sure you have that conversation because you're right. What if you wanted kids? She was like, no, or reverse. You're like, I'm having kids. She wanted them. And I know a group of two people who got divorced over this because he, the husband, was like, I don't want any kids. No kids. If you marry me, no kids. She was like, okay, no kids. I love you, no kids. But she always thought, and she said it later, I'll convince them to have kids. I'll just have kids anyway. Yes. And they had 2 kids. And they don't talk. Their marriage is obviously just of convenience now. It has fallen apart completely. Of course, because she bullied him into having kids. That's the wrong answer. If you want kids, marry someone who wants kids. If you don't want kids, marry someone who doesn't want kids. Or don't get married, whatever you think, but whatever. Pair bond with someone who doesn't want kids, right? And also the other part, Greg, is how you're going to raise them, right? I would have told anybody, if we have boys and they got a line, I'm whipping their ass. If you're not okay with that, you probably should marry me and have kids with me. I'm just saying you shouldn't. You're totally correct, Greg. I'm with you 100%. Yes. Greg goes on to say, it's very interesting to me how genetics definitely has a role. My middle daughter is so much like my mother. She cooks, sews, writes books, grows plants and such. Yeah, I can see it in my kids too. I can see it. I can. Absolutely. So, John, thank you for the 99, my friend. I appreciate it, guys. If you want to get a super chat, you can always super chat me. It does matter. I think it's important that we go out of our way to support the show the best way you can. If you can super chat, please do so. If you can't, no worries. You can always click the like button. That is free. If you're not already a member, there were 7 memberships given out today. If you can grab one, please grab one of them. I love memberships. If you can do it, that's amazing. If you can't, I get it. No worries if you can't. But even if you can't, you can still like, and you can still share this someplace. Repost it, share it, put it someplace else. You can also follow me on Facebook, X, and Rumble. I'm trying to get more people on Rumble. I got about 450 members. I'm trying to get up to 500 if I can. Not members, I'm sorry, followers. So if you want to do that, please follow me. That'd be great. And of course, if you want to super chat me or rant me on Rumble, all good. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it, John. Everyone counts. It does matter. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, let me keep moving down here if I could. All righty. I'm looking over at Rumble, and VA Lady says, I didn't want kids, and I made it very clear with anyone I dated. And that's the smart thing, right? That's the piece. You should be open about that. And then people know, and then they'll go, well, I'll convince her later. That's a bad idea. That is a bad idea. Yes, that's a terrible idea. So I'm very glad that you got that squared away. That's important. All right, let me see if I can grab this. Keep going down here if I can.
Gen Alpha spends more time playing video games than any generation before. In the bustling chaos of modern life, our children, the Gen Z Alpha generation, often find solace in the digital realms of video games and streaming platforms. It's a landscape where entertainment knows no bounds, but where the lines between virtual and real blur with alarming frequency. In fact, video games are the primary source of entertainment for these young people. Each week, they spend 22% of their entertainment time playing video games. And this isn't surprising when their whole world is meshing together with technology, between social hangouts happening through cooperative video games, and even their schoolwork is now being conducted online.
Cooperative video games. There is a difference. That's all I'm saying. There is a difference. That was the point I was bringing up, that there really is a difference. That's all. So let me grab a couple more comments if I can. Let's see here. Let's see. Greg goes on to say, thank you for remembering, Greg. We pushed off cell phones as long as we could. Yep. Kim says, my son uses tablets for babysitters. I see it. And if it's my view on this, Kim, if it's once in a while, it's not a bad idea, right? If it's once in a while, if you wake up in the morning and go, oh my God, my kid hit take a tablet, and you then go do your thing, that could be a problem. But if, once in a while you got something you got to do, you got to give your kid a tablet so you keep him busy while you, what's that gonna end? But again, you also want to make sure your kid can actually play. Like I bought my kids a lot of toys so they could physically play with stuff, right? So yeah, absolutely, if I can. All right, Mike says, cell/computer is the modern TV of the 80s. Parents give it to raise the kids and occupy them. Brain drain. No kid needs a cell phone or computer before teens. I'm not sure that's true. And let me be clear on this. You may not want them to have it, but you probably want them to have access to it. Like my kids had access to iPads when they were 2 or 3. I wanted them to feel comfortable with the technology, understand it. But no, I didn't just give it to them and let them keep it. I gave it to them like as the temporary babysitter here or there, or when something happened, so they understood it and weren't shocked by it, right? So that's why. But I think you should expose them to these things as always possible. They feel comfortable. But I didn't give it. They didn't own one. That I didn't do, right? If that makes any sense. So yeah. Patty says, my kids, all in their 20s, believe they were the last generation to play outside. They may have been. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, maybe. It could be. So Greg says, how Larry played Roblox. Still do when my kids want to play. Still do. Don't care. Tease me all you want. I don't care. I don't care. All good. Yes, yes, and yes. Jared says, late to the video, but we utterly failed our kids as a society 5 years ago due to the overgrown germophobic freakout, and it's only gotten worse. This is such a big deal, Jared. No one's brought up. You are correct. The lockdowns crushed our children. Utterly accurate, completely true, totally, absolutely true. It wrecked us, and we're still seeing the damage to this day. Yes. Mike Vasquez on to say, young girls on the internet early equals eating disorders and low self-confidence. Boys are the same, are more emotionally irrational, less focused, more violent. Maybe I could see that. I could definitely see that. I think a lot of girls particularly are following trends much more than boys are. So if the trend is to be big, if the trend is to be small, if the trend is to wear this or wear that, girls are more likely to follow the trends. Boys are more likely to do the dumb thing, whatever that dumb thing is, right? Do the jump off the building thing, right? Or whatever the dumb thing of the day is. Boys are more apt to do that. I think that part's true. Okay, John, thank you for the $5. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. That might be a lie. It probably is, because you watch this show. You probably are. But it seems like it all might be a designed to collapse societal norms. Just a thought. Most of the time, conspiracy theories, most of the time, the people at the top aren't actually doing the thing. They're waiting for a bad thing. They see the bad thing. They then encourage and help it and don't stop it. Does that make sense? Keijon, usually. So like the Chinese said, let's make TikTok and let's basically wreck American society with TikTok. We'll do that. We'll monitor ours so our kids don't get destroyed. We'll just destroy American kids. And then America said, ooh, American oligarchy said, that's crushing people. Don't do nothing. Let go. Let's encourage it. Let's encourage TikTok bombs, which are wrecking the world. Let's encourage TikTok bombs. So I feel like most of the time they didn't like do the thing. They just saw the thing happen and went, perfect. Don't stop it. In fact, encourage it. There's a fire started. Pour some gas on that. That's what I think it happens most of the time. That's my conspiracy theory, if that makes any sense. That's where my head always goes. So yeah.
Course. 85% of US teens report playing video games, and 41% of them say that they play at least once a day. 4 in 10 identify as a gamer. And that is a lot,
as a gamer.
for kids. Half of them are playing every day. Does that not seem like a lot? Now, while there are definitely benefits to video games, we hear all the time about how it improves cognitive skills and enhances hand-eye coordination.
Look at that.
There are drawbacks. This whole video is about drawbacks. And that comes from when they're spending so much of their time online.
True. You can't spend too much time.
Tablets out of their children's lives, essentially. What was that transition like? So we are considering doing this just for like the weekdays. We have been having some behavioral issues.
That's actually not, see, that's not a bad type of compromise. To your point earlier, Mike, I wouldn't give my kids the iPad, but would they be able to use it here or there? Yeah. And if you wanted to say like, give your kid the iPad on Saturday or something, I mean, I don't know how that would work, but in theory, I could see something like that, right? They don't get it during the week because they're doing schoolwork or whatever. But a Saturday, take your iPad and play Roblox and or whatever is the cool thing of the day for your kids, right? I could see that kind of thing, right? Your Saturday, enjoy your iPad, play with your game, whatever. Go on TikTok or whatever is the cool thing, whatever. I get that. I could see something like that. This actually makes sense to me.
With the kids, nothing terrible, but like,
oh no, it's terrible.
Starting to notice that pretty big screen addiction,
and now it's
nothing terrible. I'm starting to notice a pretty big scream addiction. Is that what it's called now? I'm not a brat. I have a scream addiction. All right, Morgan? I got a scream addiction. Stop calling me a brat. I'm going to call the cops on you. I got a scream addiction. That's the issue.
The point where some kids are getting their sense of self tied up with their proficiency in playing video games. And that's when the addiction starts to creep in. And it's a real problem when we have teachers online saying that kids can't focus in the classroom because they're used to their dopamine-full game.
No, because they don't see any value in school. They see more value in the video game because they get actual accolades for actually doing something versus being told in school, sit down, shut up, and learn shit that doesn't matter. That's the reality. Teachers don't want to accept that. Their job is about to go away. AI is going to replace half the teachers. They don't like this. Their parents are bad, whatever. No. That's not how that works.
Games, and some teachers are even having to adjust their curriculum to compensate for the lack of attention span. Not that academics are everything, of course.
I think that you guys don't know what's going on in education.
Hold on. I want to head over to Instagram. A lot of love says, my little ones have a 2-hour limit for any apps and can use it anytime between 4 and 8 on school nights. There we go. See, that type of thing seems to make sense to me, right? That style of you get it, but at this time or for this thing or something like that seems to make sense to me, right? 12 to 8 on weekends, but still in 2 hours. They cannot download or any pay to play or MP games or apps. There we go. Apple actually makes it very easy to implement this discipline. We created a parent password so they have no access to settings. See, I think this to me a lot of love. I love this concept. I think that idea allows them to still have access to it, to know what it is, feel good about it, and be able to use it, not feel scared of it. And also the kids at school are playing it. So they want to be able to at least know what the kids are talking about, right? Otherwise they become socially inept. So if the kids are talking about Roblox, they don't have to play every day, but they should at least know what Roblox is. Oh yeah, I played it on Saturday with my friend or something, or whatever the case may be. And then they can schedule time. Hey, I can play Roblox, but it's got to be on Saturday at noon or something. And you go play Roblox with your friends Saturday at noon. So I think this concept makes a lot of sense to me. I like that kind of idea. I don't like my view is I don't want to just keep them like nobody gets it. I think that's going to be the wrong answer. P says, one of two. This is for Sharpe fans. In an effort to promote Larry, I responded to an X post by YouTube, the company. YouTube asked, which creators have been inspiring you the most lately? Oh, okay. So if you go to YouTube's X account, they've asked which creator has been inspiring you most lately. Oh, you respond. That was nice of you. Thank you, my friend. That's awesome. All right, hold on. Where's 2? I don't see 2. Did I miss 2? Maybe you haven't written it yet, but that's what I saw. So guys, do that. There we go. Thank you. I appreciate it. That's awesome.
Right now, that's fine. Like, how could you know unless you were working in it? But I think you need to know. So here's exactly what it's like right now working in public education. First of all, the kids have no ability to be bored whatsoever. They live on their phones and they're just fed a constant stream of dopamine from the minute their eyes wake up in the morning until they go to sleep at night. Because they're in a constant state of dopamine withdrawal at school, they behave like addicts. They're super emotional, like the smallest thing sets them off. And when you are standing in front of them trying to teach, they're vacant. They have no ability to tune in if your communication isn't packaged in short little clips or if it doesn't have like bright flashing lights. It's actually the way harder part for me than just the outright behaviors is just being up at the front, talking to a group of kids who have their eyes open, they're looking at me, but they're not there. They're not there.
But what's missing here is the opportunity cost.
Yep.
By spending too much time playing video games, children aren't developing.
She's not wrong in what she's saying. The issue is, unless parents change, education has to change. And I see colleges falling apart and I see schools falling apart.
Themselves as individuals, they're developing as gamers. Well,
here's the thing, right? Here's what we know affects education more than anything else. Outcomes more than anything else. It's not extra money. It's tutors. I'm not joking. That is universal every single time. Shows an outcome every single time. Tutors. What's going to be the next big tutor? AI.
we need to be doing is diversifying childhood to still have video games, but also real life experiences and skill sets. Seems kind of crazy that we have to like say that nowadays. As said here, part of the task of the parent is and always has been educating desire, teaching your child to desire and enjoy things which are higher and better than cotton candy. Video games and social media are the cotton candy of popular culture today.
True.
I also find that this permissive parenting style brushes off the video game addiction as they're just kids and they'll get over it when they're older. But that's just not proven to be the case. The truth is that the younger you are when you become an addict, the harder it is to kick when you're older. Kids need to be grounded in the real world, not in the world of screens. So that's one drawback.
I agree, but screens are the world, right? Screens are the real world. That's the problem, right? So you have to have both. You do. Patty is not happy with Saturday. Okay, tell me, Patty. She goes, no, Larry, on Saturday, play outside. Get off the screens and play in the mud. Play tag with other kids. Get scratches and grass stains. Build snow people. Screens for rainy and snowy days. You know, I like the way you said that. I guess my point was maybe Saturday's right or wrong, but I think this parent has the right idea, which is this is a specific time. And she said it's still 2 hours. So even if it was Saturday, you only get 2 hours. So they would pick the 2 hours. So their friends available from 10 to 12, you play 10 to 12. At noon, you go outside. So you can still do it. Even with her plan, it was still only 2 hours a day. So even maybe it was Saturday night after dinner, they got together and played from 7 to 9 on Saturday night, right? And they played at that or whatever, right? So I think it still could work, but I get your point. There's a second piece though here, Patty. What happens if no other kids are outside? Because every parent either keeps their kid inside or doesn't, or is scared, or they're all on their own iPads. It's the second piece. You got to be in the right area. But I'm with you. I mean, obviously, I'm with you. I took my kids out. My kids had access to iPads when I wanted to give it to them. But I took my kids out in the snow and we made snowmen and we did stupid stuff. And we did all those things. So yeah, I'm with you. So, here's 2 of 2. Sorry. Let's see if I can get them here. Oh, the silver on. Okay, I missed this. Oh, okay. Peace brought this up. I'm sorry. He brought us up over on Rumble and I missed it. I apologize, Peace. Here it is. I'm going to read it off. I've been brainstorming to get subscriptions up. Today on X, I saw a post from YouTube on the X account, which asked about the creator. I replied, Larry Sharpe, and a brief tag on which, hold on, and a brief tag on why to watch. Then I spent $10 to promote that tweet. That gets you 2,000 to 5,000 impressions. I have the tweet pinned to my X account at Peace Logic. Peace, you are the best. Thank you, brother. That is amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yes, that's great. Morgan says, boredom is the entrance to imagination. 100% true. Yes, absolutely. 100% true.
Of video games, the loss of time that you could otherwise be developing your character. But the other problem with this screen addiction is that it's causing an epidemic of sleep as well. The rise of permissive parenting means that parents are hands-off when it comes to regulating screen time. They think that
That's
good
you, Greg.
parenting
You're right.
means
You
letting your
it.
kids decide in almost all circumstances, including where parents should definitely be stepping in. American children are so busy trying to do so much between their organized sports, academics, and video game addictions that the majority of them are now sleep deprived. Among the high school seniors,
Also
fully
a problem.
84% are getting less than 8 hours of sleep a night. And American kids are getting significantly less sleep compared to American kids 20 or 30 years ago. It's no secret that kids don't like sleep, and it's a tale as old as time that teenagers want to stay up late and sleep in. But kids have never had so many distractions to keep them awake and allow them to waste the night.
This part's true. Our kids never had a TV in the room. Right? When I was a kid, I had a TV in my room. My kids never had a TV in the room. So, and when they were younger, they didn't have the iPad. We had the iPad, right? And we gave them what we wanted. So they went to bed. There was nothing there. So yeah. Now though, as they're older, sometimes they will now scroll on their phones at night. They will do it now sometimes. But when they were little, we didn't have that because they didn't have a phone. The iPad we had, and didn't have a TV in their room. So when they went to bed, they were done for. They went to bed. That was it. So yeah, that piece I think we kept the same way. So I did it. Yeah. Joel says, didn't Kathy Hochul solve the phones in school problem with the ban? True. Solved. Kathy Hochul, governor of New York, solves all problems, Joel. She is wonderful and amazing. She is our Lord and Master, of course. Yes, absolutely.
Night away. It's more common than ever for kids to stay up till 1 a.m., 2 a.m., or whatever time because they're glued to their screens. And no one's stopping them. The lack of sleep is what's doing
It's not no one stopping them. It's what Greg said from his first freaking comment, which is parents can just take the phone away. You can just take the phone away. They're kids. They have literally no power. You can just take the phone away. But they'll cry. They'll cry in their room by themselves. They'll keep crying. Then, as my father would say, you want to keep crying? I'll give you something to cry about. There's always that option.
Irreparable damage to kids. For one, less sleep for kids is known to cause weight issues and obesity, partially because it disrupts their hormones, but also because they're less likely to be physically active the next day because they're tired. But equally as worrisome, sleep deprivation takes a toll on kids' performance in the classroom as well as their mental health.
Parents of middle schoolers and high schoolers, please take your kid's phone before they go to bed.
That's what I'm saying. See, she's right.
And not tired in a typical teenager way.
See, Greg says it. He goes, my son gets on his phone in the morning. Not saying that's good, but he's doing great in school in the morning. Good. In the end, parents' relationships with their kids are the most important. Greg, you are knocking it out of the park tonight. You are absolutely correct. That's exactly right. The reality of it is, if you have a good relationship with your kids, the odds are much higher that if they're having a problem, they'll tell you. If they're having a problem, you'll notice it. And if you want to try to help them, they'll accept your help. And that's the key. And all kids are going to have some problem because all people have some problem. You all have some. I have a problem. I'm perfect, though. I'm sorry. Wish I was. But keto's magic. So that solves all problems. If you're not on keto, you're going to have problems. Otherwise, right? So they're going to have problems. We have to fix them. If we're close to them, as Greg says, he's correct. We get to see it easier. They will tell us if we don't see it. And then when we have to work with them, they will be, okay, I will work with you because I trust you. Yes, absolutely correct.
Tired in a I'm bored of class way. Tired in a I can't keep my eyes open because I was up till 3 a.m. scrolling. I had 2 kids in class today, and this one kid is telling me that his one friend, he's like, bro, this kid was texting me till 3 a.m. last night. I'm like, okay.
Why were you up?
And you go to bed. I had this one kid. It may be the sleepiest kid on earth. And in between every single task, I kid you not, every single task, he will answer a question, head down, falls asleep every single time. And I'm like, hey, like, are you sleeping at home? And he's like, not really. What are you doing? Playing video games, going on TikTok, doing whatever.
As the US Surgeon General has stated, studies have shown a relationship between excessive social media use and poor sleep quality, reduced sleep duration, sleep difficulties, and depression among youth. A sleep-deprived child will have trouble paying attention, not because he has ADHD, but because he's sleep-deprived.
And that's the problem. We are now misdiagnosing ADHD with we're misdiagnosing sleep deprivation as ADHD. That's happening all over. And putting kids on drugs now. Yes. 100%. Kim, two rules is all it takes to raise disciplined, respectful kids. Respectful, respectable. 1, say what you mean. 2, mean what you say. I agree with you, and I'll go to the way I bring it up. I tell people all the time when they ask me about raising kids, my opinion. And I say, recognize if you actually understand 2 things clearly, raising kids is easy. If you really understand 2 things, and most parents don't. Number 1, your kids are not now and never will be you. Boy, does that sting when I tell it to a lot of parents. Your kids are not now and never will be you. A lot of parents can't handle that. And you've either been that parent or you've seen parents like that who basically assume that that little person is a little mini them and will think like them, act like them, and they can even live vicariously to that little guy or gal. It's not true. And if you understand that, number 1. Number 2, you cannot now and never will be able to completely protect your kids. You can't. It is impossible. It's impossible. If you understand those 2 things, you recognize something. Well, you said, Kim, the best thing you can do for your kid is to be a good example. The best thing you can do. Because kids don't do what you say. They do what you do. That's what kids do. Kim, you are correct. Kids don't do what you say. They do what you do. And if you say what you mean, and you mean what you say, then your kids will say what they mean and mean what they say. You were 100% correct. I went a bit long on that because I just love what you had to say. It's just so good. I love what you had to say, Kim.
Deprivation mimics ADHD almost perfectly. The usual screening tools for ADHD, such as the Conners rating scales, cannot distinguish the child who is not paying attention because he's sleep deprived from the child who is not paying attention because he truly has ADHD. I've heard this from multiple teachers saying that the lack of sleep is killing education because kids don't have the capacity to learn when they're not awake in class. And in the last part of this section, which is arguably the saddest of them all, is that kids aren't reading anymore. Unfortunately, the reality now is that only 34% of 8 to 18-year-olds surveyed by the National Literacy Trust said that they enjoy reading in their spare time. This is the lowest level recorded by the charity since it began surveying children about their reading habits 19 years ago.
Why do my daughters read? Because they watched me and their mom read. That's why.
Representing an 8.8% drop point since last year.
My oldest daughter has a library card.
But it all comes back
she's
to,
21.
again, the fact that children don't even have the opportunity to read when their lives are filled with their overscheduled extracurriculars mixed with their attention-addicting screens taking up all their time. I can imagine it being so hard as a kid to convince yourself to sit down and read a book when you can alternatively scroll TikTok and get a dopamine rush every 10 seconds.
She's not
Children's
wrong.
Reading enjoyment has fallen to its lowest level in almost 2 decades, with just 1 in 3 young people saying that they enjoy reading in their free time. And this, of course, has obvious drawbacks. We know reading is good for kids, but the benefits of increased vocabulary and mental well-being should not be understated.
That's a problem. And I'm guilty now. Most of my reading now is through Audible. Audible books.
Well, with a generation of fragile kids. The problem with overprotecting and over-controlling your children's lives is that it leaves them unprepared for life. According to the latest report from the CDC, 57% of American teen girls now report feeling persistently sad or hopeless.
But that's common, though.
Up from 36% in 2011. Among boys, 29% now report feeling persistently sad or hopeless, up from 21% in 2011. With all these things combined, we're finding children are left without a strong bond with their parents. They're getting their self-worth from their peers and online validation, and they're
True.
directionless in a world where they have no applicable skills or personal hobbies. And with that, we're seeing that Gen Alpha is not able to self-regulate at the capacity they should.
True.
I'm a therapist and I primarily work with kids and teens, so I largely work with Gen Alpha kids, and I see exactly these types of behaviors all of the time. This is a problem. Kids who don't know how to emotionally regulate, don't understand consequences, don't understand proper boundaries. But the biggest issue is the parents. Many times
listen to
they
this.
don't want to take accountability. They don't
Ever.
want to hear how they've contributed to the problem. And a lot of times when you try to bring it to their attention, they push back. They become really defensive.
And here's the problem, which she just mentioned. This is the number one reason why most therapy fails. Number one reason why 80% of therapy fails. The biggest reason is if you're a therapist like her who is trying to actually say, here's how we fix this, here's how we make things happen, someone take accountability and fix it, people go, I don't like that. They push back. Well, when they push back, do they come back? They don't. You don't get paid. But what if you instead go, no, it's okay, mom or dad. Your kid's perfect. You're perfect. You're wonderful. Go queen, go king. They play that game. You keep coming back because you feel good. Yeah. So you want to get paid? Do what I call affirmation therapy, which is the most lucrative. I would make a whole lot more money if I was an affirmation coach. Sadly, I'm not. If I was an affirmation coach, I'd make a lot more. Those guys make a ton of money. Whatever you do, it's not your fault. You're awesome. You're a queen. You're a king. You're amazing. The whole world's wrong. You're awesome. And make sure that check is written out to Larry Sharpe. Done. And you make lots of money. So yeah, and she's recognizing. She's like, I'm trying to do good. This woman's trying to do good. And they're like, I won't talk to you.
They don't want to listen to the reason. If you try to give them suggestions on things that they can implement at home, they either tell you that they've already done that or they've already tried that or it doesn't work or blah, blah, blah. And it's a lot of resistance. And no, I'm not talking to amazing parents that are super dedicated and committed to helping not only their children, but themselves and are very.
She's not talking to them. Why? Because they don't go to therapy. Because they're good. Yes. That's the point. Yes. She always says deep thoughts with Jacket. Yes. Because I'm good enough. I'm smart enough. And doggone it, people like me. That's true, Shelly. Absolutely. Liberty says that's because a lot of parents think the government should raise their kids. Yes, not just should, it's their responsibility. And if my kid can't read, it's the government's fault. You are correct. You are, and that's sad. That's our fault as a society. We did that.
Very, very open and willing to change and figure out how they can be the best parent they can possibly be. I'm talking about the parents that don't want to recognize that they are 99.9% of the reason why their kids have these issues.
And it's gotten to the point where people are saying that Gen Alpha is the most hostile yet fragile generation.
True.
Yet. Kids today are,
if anybody's going to be building the camps, it's them.
more likely to shy away from
through AI
challenges,
robots,
give
not
up
physically.
in the face of discomfort, or ask for more reassurance or help from adults because they haven't been given the space to build resilience.
Gen Alpha specifically has been exposed to instant gratification their entire lives, that they always need to look something up. They don't want to do the work, or they need to be doing 10 different things to be overstimulated and actually get stuff done and things like that. And a lot of Gen Alpha is having a really hard time talking, having a really hard time reading, having a really hard time doing things at school. They need to.
They're all going to be replaced by robots.
Look it up. They don't want to do the work. They don't feel like doing anything.
While parents most of the time have good intentions, many of them are in the wrong places. Too much emphasis on any aspect of childhood creates an opportunity loss. And if we look at the long-term effects of overcommitment to academics, for example, the outlook isn't good. By doing so, kids end up building their entire self-worth around academic achievements, leaving them feeling insecure and vulnerable when they fall short.
Hey, basing your entire self-worth on your achievements is unsustainable. If the only
Did you hear what she just said? This fucking moron just said that. This is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. This is up there with one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. Basing your self-esteem on your accomplishments is unsustainable. What in the world would you base your... God damn, she's stupid.
way you feel good about yourself is when you achieve something. You're never going to be able to stop trying to achieve things. And you're going to.
Why is that a bad thing? You should be trying to achieve things.
burn out. Hi, it's me. I tried and I burnt out. Nobody ever gave me the option of just.
No, you're just the loser. That's it, period. I don't mean to be mean, but you just are. And you're a loser not because you lost. We all lose. I've lost multiple times. People have watched me lose. That's not why she's a loser. She's a loser because she doesn't want to try. That's what makes you a loser, not because you actually lost. Lots of us lose. This knucklehead is like, don't try. Don't follow your dreams. Don't try. Don't try to achieve things. That's stupid. Wow. And she's a TikTok moms are the worst. They're the worst.
Feeling valuable because I am. So I'm putting the option out there for you. You're already valuable, bestie. All the other stuff is made up. You already have.
No, you just made that up. Why? She's talking to a random person who she doesn't know. You're already valuable, bestie. First off, they're not your bestie. This was my point between this TikTok with women and gaming with men, or I should say girls and boys instead. I shouldn't, this is actually TikTok women. But anyway, the point is, TikTok women is filled with, you're awesome, queen. You're the best because you exist. You deserve the best. I don't know who you are. Maybe you do. Maybe the person she's talking to is actually amazing and deserves all the cool things. And maybe the person she's talking to is a terrible human being who deserves nothing but scorn. I don't know that. Neither does she. And she calls that person bestie. At least if you're gaming, you know the idiot because you see how good or bad they play at least, or how they talk. And when you're insulting them, it's probably real. And if you're saying they're great, they might actually be. You actually talk to them. She's talking to a phone. She's talking to a phone. And she's saying, you're the best, bestie, and blah, blah. This is harmful. This is stupid. You should not think that. Nobody, me, you, her, especially her, nobody is great because they were born. Literally billions of people have been born. In fact, everyone who was ever alive was born. That's not impressive. Have you done something? It doesn't have to be achieve stuff in school. That's one way of being impressive. That is a way. Please, if you're good at school, do that. Not against that. But you achieve something, whatever that thing is. It might be finding the spouse of your dreams. It might be having children. It might be raising good children. It might be going to work. It might be having a wonderful job. It might be making lots of money. Whatever. It might be buying a cool car. I'm not here to judge what that thing is, but you achieve something, and then you're proud of that thing. And you fall down, and you get burned out, but you get back up after you screwed up or got unlucky, either one, and you try again. And that's how you become valuable, and that's how you gain grit. And now you gain self-esteem. But when people just tell you you're great, you don't gain self-esteem. It's harmful to you. Harmful.
Just sitting there. You're already valuable. Keep it up, cutie. I'm proud.
You're not valuable. Listen to what this moron says. Keep it up, cutie. The person you're talking to may be cute, and they may not be cute. You don't know. You're talking to a phone. You idiot. You're talking to a phone. I'm proud of you. If anyone is sitting there going, I'm so happy that she's proud of me, that person's worse.
In fact, it's been studied that too much focus on academic lowers outcomes in life. Isn't that kind of crazy?
No, I tell you that all the time. I tell you that all the time. Having a high IQ is nice, but once you get to a certain level, it actually hurts you, right? If you happen to have a very high IQ, your odds of success go down, except in one specific arena, and that is academia. In academia, in that specific arena, if you want to be, say, a college professor or something like that, then it is a direct line IQ and success, right? In that case, if you know you have a very high IQ, academia probably good for you. It's gonna be perfect, right? Outside of academia, having a very high IQ lowers your chance for success, not raises. And that's data is in on that one already. Lowers. This is why so many eggheads go to academia. That's where they're going to thrive. So you should go there. That's smart, right? So no, not just that. What I tell you all the time, master's degrees and doctorates just means you're unhireable. I know people still to this day, lots of them, who are still going out and paying big money to get a master's degree and don't know where they're going. They just want to get a master's degree and they think it's going to make them more valuable. let me be very full with all of you who are thinking about that. Unless you have a specific plan, again, like I want to get a master's degree because I'm going to become an engineer or whatever, or you have a plan to do the thing, unless you have a plan, getting a master's degree is a colossal waste of time and money and will hurt you. Years ago, when I was doing hiring for tech firms, a master's degree was a no hire. Master's degree, garbage. Master's degree, garbage. Yes. I was seeing people in law firms who were looking at literally going, Ivy League, garbage. Ivy League, garbage. They wouldn't hire Ivy League people. Yes. This concept is dumb. I've been saying it for years. She's like, that's weird. No, listen to my show for the past 6 years is what I've been saying.
Here we see when researchers tracked down high school students 11 years and 50 years after graduation, they found that attending a high-achieving high school was associated with lower educational and occupational achievement compared to students with the same household income who attended schools with average achievement profiles.
So the money didn't matter. What happened to capitalism? I thought capitalism mattered. Money didn't matter, did it? She just told us all about capitalism. Not this time. Morgan says EQ over IQ all day. Yes, for those who don't know, EQ is emotional intelligence versus IQ being just straight intellect. 100% true. That's accurate. I'm sorry, not 100% true. True with the exception of academia. Yes, with that exception. Yes, true.
This is because the only thing they know is academics. There's no real sense of self beyond a grade on a piece of paper. But the other problem that's coming out of all of this is a lack of social emotional development. And that brings us to
Patty says, shouldn't our president come from academia with a master's? Wouldn't having a smart president be our goal? Not at all. I don't want that at all. Not true at all. I do not want that. And to be forward, most presidents, the average IQ of our president is around 130, which is the right number. Like the perfect match of for most people having success is around 130, 135, maybe 130 in that area of the IQ. Average IQ in America is about 100. Genius is like 150 and above. So if you're in between that, that's the sweet spot, about 130, right? You're above average, but not genius. That's the it's called, I think it's called gifted. I forgot, what depends on who you talk to, what it's counted. 150 and above is genius. 100 below 100 is below average. So most people want to be between 100 and 150. 130, that's that right there sweet spot. Right there is the right spot. And most presidents are around that. And that's what we actually want. We want someone who, as a president, who has EQ, right? To literally to Morgan's point, emotional intelligence can be far more important to president than IQ. You hire people with high IQ, right? Most CEOs hire people with high IQs. They don't have high IQs. They have high EQs. Usually. That's not 100% rule. So yes. Yeah. Mike says, Larry, do you mean my doctorate in Africana studies and lesbian dance theory will make me a bazillionaire and constantly working? All right, Mike. I know I told you that lesbian dance theory was the thing of the future. I was actually kidding. And I thought you would get that. I didn't realize you actually went out and got your doctorate in that. The one good thing about that is, there's a good thing, is that it's funny and people will laugh when you tell them that. So I think you'll be good at parties, but that's as far as that doctorate in lesbian dance theory is going to get you. Just saying. So some of you are probably giggling at that. But here in New York, Mike's joking, but he's not joking. Here in New York, in many of our colleges here, I'm not joking, you get to pick your own major. And people just make it up. There's videos on it all over the place. And you show the actual degrees. There's a degree in like decolonization in women's media, like that. That's like a degree. I wish I would. Maybe not do a show on it. Literally just go on YouTube and TikTok and look for that. You will see shit like that that has literally no value whatsoever. Mike's joking, but he's not joking. So yes.
to the saddest point of this video, which is that Gen Alpha is not making friends. A lack of community is something that's already a huge problem in our modern world and is getting even worse with our kids. Among parents, 19% say that their child has either no friends or not enough friends, and 90% say that their child wants more friends but has roadblocks that keep that from happening. And there's a couple factors that come into play here. Yes, for one, children are not developing their social skills well enough, but they also don't get enough time to socialize with their full schedules. Even if these events are social activities, it doesn't allow the open-ended social environment that kids need.
And they don't
to
know how to
make
handle
real
stuff.
friends.
And when they have problems, they're told, go get an adult. They're not told to deal with their problems. So, by the way, Mike, Joel likes what you're saying. He says, Yas Queen, you slay. See, I told you that would work. So you got some people who enjoy it. See, that worked at least. So there we go. Yes.
Playing soccer with someone every Thursday night doesn't automatically make a deep connection. Real friendships come from one-on-one time and meaningful interactions.
Our generation is so based around social media and being online all the time that like we struggle with like having in-person conversations because mostly like people, when they have like a deep conversation with somebody, they would rather send like a really fat text message rather than
all
like
the
calling
time
them or like meeting up with them or something.
My kids have struggled with that too, not wanting to actually call people, but actually want to just text everybody. Yeah.
And most people have more confidence when they talk over like, you know, through social media or like texting, and people really don't like.
They hide behind their phones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They hide behind their phones.
To like talk to people now because people rather talk online, and now we really don't have like social skills to like meet new people.
But the biggest player in this friendship problem is that kids are getting their social cups filled by parasocial relationships online.
Yes.
Whether that's a relationship with an influencer they follow or even
Very
fellow
true.
gamers, which technically aren't parasocial relationships, but are definitely not the same thing.
See,
as
the
real
gamers
in-person
aren't, as I told you.
interactions.
Thank
Both my
you.
kids play a lot of Fortnite and they play a ton of these competitive video games with their buddies, right? And so it feels social, but I'm almost wondering if that's
Does it feel social?
beneficial at their age to get some of that aggression out in a way that's healthy. Or am I just rationalizing?
And with Gen Alpha entering their
I don't know
teenage
what she
years
was
now,
saying.
there's also a rise in romantic relationships being replaced by online ones.
Also
Kids
true.
aren't meeting at the mall anymore. They're growing friendships and sometimes even crushes while playing Roblox, Fortnite, and Minecraft. For
Also
Gen
an
Alpha,
issue.
who often join these platforms as early as age 7 or 8, it's natural that their digital playgrounds are becoming their first dating arenas. Children
Also
are
true.
replacing their playground interactions with online ones because, for one, it's easier. 2, it feels safer, like you're not going to get embarrassed. But also, they don't have the skill set to interact otherwise. And the more they fall into these online realms, the more they pull back from real life. A real life example of this
That's
is
the bigger issue, is pulling back. Patty says it. You can create an AI friend. There is my biggest worry now. ChatGPT becomes your buddy. That becomes your friend now. That's your buddy. Why do I have to go outside, Patty? I got Johnny here. I'm going to talk to him. He's going to tell me how smart and fun I am. Yes. And then when they got the companion robots with the AI, Patty, why are you going out anymore? I'm with you. That's a worry.
from the book The Collapse of Parenting, which I've been referencing all video. This was a really good book for any parents out there. Highly recommend. But it's about
So Andrea says, but Larry, you're my buddy. And here's the funny part. I'm trying to make this show different, Andrea. I am. And I'm not just joking. I'm trying to make this show different. That's why I constantly do it live. That's why I react to you guys in real time to the best of my ability. That's why I go out and I'm at least 25% of the people who are watching now, I probably somehow met someplace. Probably. It's my guess. I've somehow met someplace or talked to on a phone. Some of you know that if you bug me, I will sometimes just call you. That does happen. Yes. Somebody's talking on the phone or I meet you someplace. I was out this weekend in Michigan and I told people where I was going to be and people came and I talked and sat with them. One guy I yelled at. It's fine. But that actually happened. So yes, that stuff does happen. I do meet people, right? And I bring you on my show. Andrew, you on my show. So yes, I bring you on. Absolutely. So yes, it's everywhere. So I am, right? I've met Patty, right? People just happen to be here right next to you. I met Patty. I met Shelly. I met Phil. I met all of you, right? Phil was helping with my campaign and drove me around in upstate New York. It's true. Patty helped me set up events in Plattsburgh. Shelly actually came to my court case. Yes. I know these people. You're totally right. I've known Mike for like 7 years, 8 years now. I forgot how long I've known Mike for. So yeah, so, all the time. And that's just the people I just happen to just grab. There's probably more of them, but those are people who just were in the chat that I happen to see. So yeah, I am your buddy.
A teenage boy, he lost interest in school, in most of his friends, and his sport. His circle of friends narrowed. He now spent most of his free time with a few other boys who shared interest in video games. He became defiant and disrespectful toward grown-ups, including his parents. If we change nothing else about our parenting approach, I wish that we at least would prioritize teaching social skills, because they're essential not just for success, but living a fulfilling life. A life online
Yes,
can only
that's
offer
my
so
point.
much for so long. Even if
She's
you
right.
suck academically, which obviously is not the goal, but you can still get far in life with strong social skills. I remember a teacher in university once told me that all employers care about is someone that shows up on time and
Yep.
is nice to talk to.
I say that all the time. Show up and don't be a jerk, and you can get a job. It may not be a great job, but you can get a job. Particularly if you want to work in the trades, you can get a job. Yes, you can.
Obviously,
it's
there's
possible.
more requirements to a job than that, but it emphasized that you really need to be a socially adept person to baseline get through life. But the whole point of this is that childhood isn't some separate chapter disconnected from adulthood. It's the foundation everything else is built on. We know that the two are deeply intertwined and that
True.
one feeds into the other, yet we
True.
give children no boundaries or skill sets to set them up for success in adulthood. A child with
Yes.
self-confidence, critical thinking skills, the ability
But you just said it doesn't matter. Didn't you just show me that woman who said self-confidence is just you slay queen or whatever?
to create their own play and solve their own problems will be far more prepared for adulthood than
True.
ones whose days are fully planned out, who's constantly being told what to do and only sees value from the grades that they're given at school.
And that is our school problem right there. She just said right now, she just said the reason for all this is school. She didn't say those words, but that's what she said. The reason is school, because school doesn't teach you to make mistakes. School teaches you to shut up, sit down, do as we say. That's what it does. School is not helping. So what do? More school. That's our answer. More school. That's not the right answer. Guys, if you like what we're doing, I'm still working with her, but I want to make sure, guys, I haven't told you in a while, click the button known as like. It does matter. Please do it. Share, repost. If you haven't done it, please just share, repost it. If you don't click the button known as Lima, India, Kilo, Echo, if you don't click that button, you're saying that you want our children to spend all their time on TikTok. That's what you want. Why do you hate the children? Stop it. Click the like button. Also, follow me as I ask all the time. It does matter. If you haven't subscribed to me on Larry Sharpe, on YouTube, Sharpe Way, please go do so and select all notifications. It does matter. If you can, please do so. If you want to rant me, you can on Rumble, or you can super chat me on YouTube. If you have not become a member, please become a member on YouTube if you would. Sharpe Way on YouTube. Click that join button, $4.99, or head over to Rumble if you want to. Click subscribe during the live. All of that will work, but no matter what, click the button known as like. And as Peace Logic says, you can go onto X or Twitter and go to the YouTube channel or YouTube page or YouTube account. They have a question asking about what creators are inspiring you right now. Please put that down. Say, hey, it's Larry Sharpe. Follow that guy. Get him some more followers. That would help. And that's free. You just do that. Doesn't cost you a thing. That'd be amazing. Thank you, guys.
It all comes down to boundaries and freedoms in the right places.
Final thoughts. By the way, Jean met her too. So also, Liberty Lady met her too. Yep. Yes.
Okay, final thoughts. So despite shitting on Gen Alpha for the past probably 30 minutes by the time this
About-
is edited down. Also, excuse my language. But I want to clarify that I don't think that they're all doomed. We, of course, are talking about the average trends we see with kids, and my desire with videos like these is to help redirect parents when needed. I know that a lot of the
I like
things
that
that
idea.
I learned from making this video are applicable to my own parenting style. Like I've said, many of these parents are just trying to do their best and are overcorrecting from the parenting style that they grew up with. Also, this is the first generation to be fully
And
immersed in
that's a valid point that she brings up. A lot of people are trying to overcorrect. The reality is nobody is perfect. Your mom wasn't perfect. Your dad wasn't perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not. Nobody's perfect, right? So of course our parents made mistakes. Of course our parents didn't do everything right. Of course, they're human beings. Of course. But does it mean now because they made a mistake here that now I have to overcorrect and go nuts? Of course not. Of course not. But we do. And we think we have to now overemphasize and show the world. It's silly.
technology. So of course there's going to be some hiccups. So you can tell me whether or not you think they're screwed. I personally cannot succumb to that because that means giving up on my own kids. But as we
Thank
end
you. Don't
off,
do
I
that.
want to remind you to subscribe to my channel because actually I now put out 2 videos a month.
She put out 2 videos. Wait. Why do you want to subscribe to your channel and put out 2 videos? Why? Hold on. Why?
If you didn't notice, at the start of this month, I switched over to working full-time on YouTube, which means that I get to double my
She's working full-time on YouTube now, making money, this capitalist that she is. I thought she didn't like capitalists. I thought capitalism was the problem. Isn't that what she told me? Oh, not when it's her.
output for you all. But that's all for today. And as a reminder,
There we go. As a reminder, give her more money. Capitalism bad. I wish I was joking, but yes. Why do I punish you guys with people like her? Why do I do that? Why? Because a lot of people think like her. That's the reason why. Because a lot of people think like her, and we have to understand that. Lunatic says it. Very painful one to watch a full episode of. But I did it for you, brother. Someone sent this to me, and I was like, okay, they watched it, so I'll watch it. So there we go. So yes, they sent it to me, and I said I'm going to watch it, and I did. And I was like, okay, this is not bad. I could work with this one. So I did work with this one. So yeah, but I watched it so you don't have to. That's the whole point. Yes. Liberty Lady says, here's the X post. Thank you from Peace Logic, guys. Click on that if you want to. That'd be awesome. Patty says, Larry, your show always gives me hope. And a huge part of it is all the interaction with you and others in the chat. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. Thank you. Yes. And Andrea says, oh boy, 2 videos a month. I mean, Larry put out 2 today alone. True. I did put out 2 today alone. That's true. One day I did 2, 100%. I work harder than her and I got a job. So I got a lot of work to do. I got to get some coffee after this and do some more work. So yes, I'm always doing that work. It is true. But no, why would I do this? Because a lot of people think this way, Lunatic. I know you don't like it, drives you crazy. I know. You watch this, Lunatic, and you want to go nuts. I got it. All I'm saying, though, is a lot of people think this way. And you've heard me say it to you, Lunatic, on this show. We have a lot of work to do. We do. And this is more example of the work we have to do. We've got more people to turn, more people to think about, more people to get on our side. And this is an important piece. But there's a secondary piece here. Is we have to understand that if we don't come together and pair bond, if we don't come together and love each other, romantically, of course, but also in community and friendship, both of those, but romantically too, we're going to struggle. I don't want us to struggle any more than we have to. That is my issue. Did my camera go? Hold on. Is that better? There we go. My camera goes sometimes. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Guys, I'm going to ask you one more time. Click the button known as like. I know I do. Ask you all the time. Please do so. Don't forget. If you can become a member, please do so. Keep sending me these videos. I'm looking at them to the best of my ability. I am behind. So some of you are like, did you get to my video yet? I have at least 1 or 2 more I'll do this week, a couple more next week. So I am grabbing them as fast as I can. Let's take some time to do it. I do still work during the day. So I still want to make sure that works if I can. I appreciate it. Also, remember, the new algorithm. Please post down underneath here. And I'm going to ask you what to do. I'm going to ask you to post. Ask me what you think of parenting today. What do you think? We talk about parenting. What do you think of parenting today? Please post that after this is done. And remember, if you're watching this and it's not live, that means you're probably going to see 2 videos pop up right here. Please click on one of them and watch for at least 8 minutes. The algorithm likes that. I will see you all very soon.